And so it was decreed that each year the various districts of Pan Am would offer up in tribute one young man and woman to fight to the death in a pageant of honor, courage, and sacrifice. The lone victor, bathed in riches, would serve as a reminder of our generosity and our forgiveness. This is how we remember our past. This is how we safeguard Cosmere Chronicles, the podcast we follow two first-time readers, Sheta and Justin, who chronicle their journey through Bryan Sanderson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we'll be chronicling Warbreaker Chapters 40 through 45. So now, it is time to throw it over to the host of Cosmere Chronicles. This is Joe. Thank you, Joe. Yep, everyone, once again, we're here for Cosmere Chronicles. As normal, I'm Joe, and I'm joined once again by Sheta and Justin.
Howdy, y'all.
Well, I was going to say howdy, too. That's the mood I get.
That's
Howdy.
the vibe Joe puts off.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And then we're going to welcome back to the podcast. We're bringing, from the Cosmere Reads, Trees back with us this week.
Hey.
Woo!
Glad to be back.
Yeah,
I didn't agree to any guests, Joe. What is this? You can't surprise this kind of thing on me.
Well, I would have hoped you would have seen the name on the Discord server when we started recording.
Yeah, and also
I'm
hopefully
driving.
it's a good surprise. A little bit of a good
We'll
surprise,
see.
maybe. I don't know.
Depends what you offer to the podcast.
Oh boy,
We'll
that's
see.
a lot of pressure.
But yeah, I decided to ask her on again because last time when we recorded, she had mentioned that Warbreaker was her favorite book. And so I figured I can't remember if she said it on the podcast or off, but I might as well get someone on that likes the book.
Yeah, I do like the book. I'm also a first-time Cosmere reader. So it's my favorite Cosmere book so far that I've read.
Of a lot or of like one?
I've done like a little bit of Stormlight Archive. I've done Mistborn, and Elantris, and then this one. So
All right.
yeah.
Not much more than Justin and Sheta.
Nope, not too much more.
I don't know. From what we've seen so far, it seems like one book is a lot more already.
Yeah, I would say
That's
so.
fair.
Especially if you count those Stormlight books.
Oh yeah.
Spoilers. What's stuff?
You know those exist.
Spoilers, they thick.
Yeah, I showed you the picture of the thickness of the newest Stormlight book in comparison to the thickness of Dance with Dragons. All right. And so yeah, we will once again go back to our random questions, asking people stuff. So first was a question where I wanted to answer it, but I've not been able to ask it because Justin and Sheta have not read Wheel of Time. But I know Tree has, so I'll just ask, name your top 3 favorite Wheel of Time characters.
Oh, I see. You're replacing us with people who've read more books. Is that it?
Yes.
Well, okay, so Matt is one of my favorite characters. Egwene, and it's so hard to pick 3. Can I pick 5? Can I pick 10?
5.
Can I pick them
Jeez.
all? Okay, so I guess Perrin. I'll pick Matt, Egwene, and Perrin.
You're just making up words.
No, they're just all so fun to read.
Yes, because the name Matt is so made up.
Yeah, no.
Matt Trim,
That's just to throw everything off.
Matt Trim Coffin.
I've used the name Matt Trim for a D&D character before.
Oh, nice. It's a good name. So, yeah, what about you? What's your 3 favorites? Now you gotta tell me.
Matt would also be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Fael.
Interesting take.
I always found her entertaining.
Yeah,
I like
agree.
hearing this reaction with no idea what's
agree,
being
but-
said.
She's like one of those divisive characters in the fandom, and I am not saying anything else because...
Joe does tend to like divisive characters like that.
Yeah,
Hey,
she's very divisive. So.
It could have been worse. I could have said Gawain.
Oh, God. I would just leave right now. I'd be like, bye, thank you so much, this is great. Totally dig your zombie ship, Sheta, bye.
And then my third, I guess I'll just be basic and go with Rand.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
The
We
disappointment.
can still be friends.
Hey, if people have listened to me name my favorite characters or stuff, I almost always have the main character as one of them.
Yeah, that's fair. He is the main character for a reason. So,
Yep.
yeah. Cool.
All right, and then another question I was going to ask would be, if everyone wants to name, what is your favorite Legend of Zelda game?
Jeez.
Okay. Well, I haven't really played a lot, but the last one I played was Ocarina of Time, which was obviously forever ago. So I have to pick that one.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time I like quite a bit. I may have to... It's hard. I'm part of me wants to pick Majora's Mask because I really dig the vibe of that game quite a bit. But I think I have to go with Ocarina of Time as well.
Nice.
Well, since Ocarina of Time is the one and only game I've played, I'll pick that too.
Well, that makes that nice and easy.
Yep.
Yeah. I haven't owned a Nintendo console since the Nintendo 64. I have owned the handheld games. But I like Ocarina of Time, but I think my favorite, I'll have to go with the Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. I
Those
just like
were
the whole...
handheld ones, right? Or Game Boy?
Yep, they were Game Boy Color. It's technically 2 games, but...
Yeah, I remember all the ads.
You play through one game normally, you get to the end, you'll get a password. So then when you start the second game, you put the password in, and then you're kind of continuing your story from before. And then you'll get and then certain things that you did in the first game will affect the second one, and you can get passwords to go back to the first one and do this to get better weapons. I just thought that whole element of the game was pretty unique.
Yeah.
And then we'll just go with one last question, because I've been asking everyone about underrated movies, TV shows, and stuff.
Oh, God.
So one more category we had to do for underrated was underrated animated film.
Animated film.
Ooh. The first one that comes to my mind is Kubo and the Two Strings. I feel like that did not get enough. That's the first one that comes to my mind. I'm like, nobody ever talks about that. And that was such a good movie.
I did not see... What was that one? Was that a Netflix release? Or was that in theaters?
I am not sure, actually.
I feel like I remember seeing ads for it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
That's
that
what
one...
you're thinking.
I know that one was nominated for an Academy.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I never hear anybody ever talk about it.
Well, I've never seen it, so you can add me to that list.
Watch it! Watch the movie.
Okay, yeah. I'm refamiliarizing myself with seeing ads for it. Looks cool.
Yeah, the art of it, I remember, was unique when I saw stuff for it.
Mm-hmm. It is on Netflix. Oh, wait, no. This is a question. Because I'm on Google now, too. And I need to read question marks. Is it on Netflix? Before I just start saying words. Okay. Yes, it is on Netflix.
Well,
right.
you also live in a different country.
That's true. Oh, yeah, that does
change
make it
things.
different.
My pick's going to be, and it's because it was never officially released, the...
Damn it. I
Oh,
knew
you're
it.
going to take that one? You go for
Yeah.
it, Sheta. I can think of a different one.
Okay, it is the recobbled Thief and the Cobbler animated movie that never got released in its intended form. So,
One of the most, literally well-animated movies of all time that the director spent 20 years just animating, never finished, and then Disney bought it up, dubbed some crappy voices in, and then just released it quickly.
Oh, no.
Then fans went through and found as much of the original footage as they could, including storyboards and stuff, and every year they're always trying to update it to get it as close to the actual vision as possible. But it will never be fully completed. But it's completely hand-drawn, and the level of detail on the animation of that is absolutely insane.
Wow.
Super innovative and an art piece, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it was it ended up coming out as a weird, kind of low budget release. No one's ever really talks about it. So,
that's a good one. That's probably better than mine. I might need one.
Well, to be fair, it was never actually officially released, so I don't even know if it counts technically.
I don't know. I think it counts. I would like one of you to maybe type that into the chat so I can Google that later.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will forget by the end of the podcast.
Well, then, I don't know if... Joe, does it have to be 2D animated? Does Claymation count as animated to you?
Yeah, that's animated.
All right, then I'm going to go with James and the Giant Peach, which isn't that obscure, but
Ooh.
it's not as popular and well known, especially to like younger people now, as I think it should be.
That's true. That's a good one too.
It's always
Yeah.
overshadowed by like Nightmare Before Christmas, but I think it is the superior movie, even though I like Nightmare Before Christmas quite a
Ooh.
bit too.
It's a bold statement.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I watched James the Giant Peach so many times when I was
Yeah,
younger.
terrific movie. A lot of people around that time will know it, but it hasn't lived into the modern day as much, sadly.
That's true.
Well, maybe they should have put it as a world in Kingdom Hearts.
I would be
Ooh.
very excited for that.
I love Kingdom Hearts. That's such a good game.
Yeah, I've played them many, many times.
But is James and the Giant Peach Disney?
It was released by them. I don't know if they produced it or not.
Okay.
Well, technically, Nightmare Before Christmas isn't Disney as either. It's Buena Vista.
Oh, well, yeah, but they own that company, right?
Yeah. James the Giant Peach. Yeah, that's Buena Vista.
Okay.
So yeah, Disney.
Oh God, it made $1 million less than its budget at the box office. That's sad to see. No,
Ooh.
$0.3 million less. So close.
Oh, so close. Yeah,
Well,
that
that's definitely underrated there.
yeah, definitely, absolutely.
But then, how much did it make on home video?
Yeah, of course, but still.
All right, and then my underrated movie, I guess I was going to go with The Good Dinosaur.
Oh, I love that movie.
It's one where whenever I see people talking about him, they always put it like at the worst of all those movies and everything, and it just gets skipped over. But I thought it was a pretty good movie when I saw it.
Yeah, me too. It's so cute.
That's the one with like the little cave boy on a brontosaurus, right?
Yeah.
A green brontosaurus head. Yeah. Never seen it, just seen the cover.
It teaches you the value of family and
A very
friends.
out there lesson for a Disney movie.
Yeah, I know, right?
Especially
like
of the
being
time.
brave. Yeah.
Granted,
I know.
I think I was just reading that the newest Pixar movie had like the worst opening weekend out of all of them. So,
Oh yeah, no one's liking it from what I've heard.
so it might be doing better than Good Dinosaur, which did.
Yeah.
But that's our random questions and underrated stuff. So, yep. And now time to get back into this. So everybody who skipped the first 14 minutes, you'll be able to listen to us talk about Warbreaker. So first we will go into talking about what happened on last week's chapters. I think it's Justin's turn.
Oh, I don't know about that. That doesn't sound right. I can do this. Vivenna found out she was kidnapped. That was last time, correct? Or was that the time before?
Yes.
That was the time
Yep.
before, wasn't it?
No, that was last week.
All right, she's homeless and having a very bad time. Threw all her breaths in her thing. I forget what shawl or scarf or whatever. And she is drab. She's having a terrible time. Meanwhile, Lightsong is continuing his investigation. And he's... What the hell did he do? He did something. And then Siri is talking with Susebron. So that's what I've got. How much did I miss there?
Let me see. Lightsong had said he was going to go see Allmother.
Mm-hmm.
Parlin died.
How could you forget that, Justin?
Sheta, if you would have asked me about Parlin, I would have said, "Who's Parlin again?" I'm
Oh
so
my
sorry.
He's the Gordell of this book.
Well, yeah, I know who he is now.
How could
But in this
he?
chapter, when she said Parlin's dead, it took me a moment to be like, Parlin. Oh yeah, poor guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was a nice guy. I liked him.
What
Yeah.
else happened last week? Siri and Susebron had a meal, and Siri and Blushweaver had a nice little conversation.
Little
That
mean
is
girl
true.
moment there.
Yeah, it was so nice. Find another bed to sleep in, or what was it? Something
What?
call her a little slut. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really mean.
you
I didn't
jealous
know that.
Flashweaver? Jeesh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blushweaver's a little possessive of her man.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even claim her.
No, he's not interested.
I think in her philosophy, all men claim her.
All right. So yeah, this week we went through and we read chapters 40 through 45. So as usual, Justin Sheet, I'll ask you, how are you two feeling about these chapters?
Well, I like these chapters. I felt like things are starting to really get moving in the ways that I'm very interested in, which is a lot of the what's going on, who are the characters stuff. No, I'm not you, Sheta.
Yeah, moving in a direction you were hoping.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think you're mixing me up with you again.
Yeah, I always hoped it would get to this point, but I guess I didn't think they would. But actually it just kind of cut to black, so we don't really know for sure. So
Oh, that's what we're
it got
talking
pretty
about.
explicit at the end. What was that you said?
Oh, I just said, oh, that's what you're talking about. So you just said Smash the Black. I was like, okay, I got you.
Sheeta, if you really want, I bet I could find you fan fiction that will fill in the cut to black scene.
all right. Post
And then
it.
what, you fill in the blanks?
We'll just tape it into your book.
And so you still feeling all right, Justin, even though how Vivenna got out of her situation was the exact opposite of what you said you wanted to happen?
What the hell did I say I wanted to happen?
You said that you did not want her to get saved by somebody else, that she had to pull herself out of her situation on her own.
Yep, you did say that.
Yeah, but that was because if she pulled her way out of her situation on her own, she was going to come out evil, I think. Because she'd have to go through such horrible things and have such vicious hatred. I think this is probably a nicer way for this to go for the character and the story. Like a kinder way.
All right. So let's get into this week's chapters. Oh yeah, and Tree, once again, as a reminder, if I'm talking, feel free to interrupt me whenever you want.
Okay.
I'll always stop talking if somebody interrupts me.
Perfect.
And feel free to abuse that power.
I might. We'll see. Alan doesn't do that for me. He just keeps talking.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you'll get on to like a 5-minute talk about some war in the 1400s.
Oh, yeah. And also boats always sneak in there somehow.
Oh, God, boats.
Yeah. Well, Alan sailed around the world, so he has to talk about it all the time. Which, I mean, if I did that, I would also talk about it all the time because it's pretty cool.
I would definitely try to bring it up in conversation.
Yeah. Anyway, about boats.
Yeah, I like when it was around like the Olympics time where he was talking about how he hates watching Olympic sailing because he says like the commentators are terrible. And with me watching Olympic sailing, I have no idea what's going on, so I can't pick up on the commentators at all.
Yeah. He just has to know all the things.
Well, we don't know anything about boats here, so you're free of that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Same. I mean, everything I know from Alan.
So you probably know more than I do.
Yeah. How about you tell us about boats?
Well, to be honest, most of it goes in one ear and then like immediately out the other.
I've watched the Poseidon Adventure. I know enough about boats.
Yeah.
Then you probably know more than me.
Yeah.
All right, so chapter 40. We start off with Siri, and she's sitting out on the court greens eating food when Trellides comes up to talk to her. And Siri just ignores him and keeps on eating. So he clears his throat to try and get her attention. But instead, she just motions to her serving women to bring her more food. And Trellides once again tries clearing his throat. So Siri finally gets up. She tells him to walk with her. So they walk, and Trellides tells her they needs to speak with her about something. And she replies that, yeah, she figured that he needed to talk to her since he tried to summon her several times already today. He tells her that she should not antagonize him. And she feels brief anxiety, but steels herself, and tells him that she is establishing new rules between them. Trellides gets a hint of a smile after this, and she wonders why he had that reaction. And he says that she knows very little of what she presumes. She forces down another spike of anxiety, and Trellides smiles again. And at that point, Siri's able to piece it all together and figures that Trellides must have enough breaths to notice even the slightest change in her hair color. So she tells him that he came to see her, so that means that she does have some power. And this time when she talks, she focuses on keeping her hair completely black. Trellides says that he has heard that she has stopped doing her wifely duties, and asks if that means that she is pregnant.
That is a freaky thing to just have him say there.
Mhm.
Like, what? You know?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I love her clap back though, where she's like, "Oh, you guys are missing your nightly show, huh?
Yeah.
There's nothing good on Netflix." Like,
Yeah. Oh, God.
And she says that no, she's not, and lets him know that she knows about the priest listening in on them. Trellides tells her that you Idrians assume that they are better. He says that not only did they listen to them, but they also had someone in the room with them hidden on the first couple of nights.
That was scary. I wonder where they were hiding.
yeah, under the bed probably.
Ah, I just thought they were pretending to be like a couch or something, like in Community.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
I really feel like if they were just pretending to be a couch, it would have been noticeable.
Nah.
I mean, they bring in furniture all the time. It'd be really easy to just like
That's
get
true.
in there.
Oh,
That's a good
no.
point.
I think it would have been more awkward if someone was hiding underneath the bed and she did sleep with Susebron on that first night.
That's what I'm saying. That would be like the worst spot to be. I mean, if you really wanted to make sure, that'd be the best spot to be. But
You're saying we're never going to get an answer on where this guy was? I really
it
wanted
seems
to
like
know.
that. I know.
Well, to be fair, I think hiding underneath the bed, I think Pamela Voorhees probably did that in Friday the 13th with how
Yeah, but she's
Kevin
a freak.
Bacon got killed.
Yeah.
These are people that need to defend their king.
It's
And
funny, though, that they have somebody in the room. It must not have been the best hiding spot because they don't continue doing it, you know?
hmm They're either hiding behind the curtains or like behind a really big house plant or something.
Oh, I can just see the part in the movie where like they flash back to that part and they just pan over and they just sitting behind a plant.
Is this freaking scary movie where he's like, I'm in the house, and he's just ducked behind the couch? They're like, I can see your feet.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Oh, God.
Well, I figure that they probably stopped putting someone in the room after the first couple times. They figured, well, if she would have killed him, she would have done it now.
Yeah.
I'm so bummed that we're not gonna have a real answer from the way you're talking, Joe.
What? Did you ever think we were? I never thought we would.
I did. I thought we'd hear like one of the serving people would be like, "Yes, I was the one hiding behind the plant." Like, you know?
I was the turkey all along.
Yeah,
Like that.
exactly.
To be honest, I think Brandon did answer it in one of the annotations for these chapters. I just
Ooh.
don't remember.
If you know it, let us know. I want to know so badly.
Where the person was hiding. That's
Yeah.
very important information.
And were they like vigilant all night, or did they fall asleep? You know, like
Inquiring minds need to know.
Yes, this is the most important thing brought up in these chapters, and we are fixated on it.
little details that bother me.
Well, actually, later in these chapters, we do get an answer to a question you guys had a couple of weeks ago.
Not as important as this question.
It was up there. All right.
It's really interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to say, just the idea that they did have somebody in there to watch to make sure he didn't kill him, but that person is not staying in there is interesting to me because that would obviously be the most efficient way to watch and see. So it's interesting that I wonder if Susebron knew about it or not. Like, and just this whole conversation is making me rethink their relationship with him completely, and not just in the, you know, obvious ways they talk about later. Like, I just assumed that they were straight up untrustworthy and like the whole religious aspect was fake, but it seems like some aspects of it are actually quite real to this guy at least, and I'm curious to learn more about that.
All right, and then Charlie says that, you know, he knows about the Idrian's hatred against Hallandrin, and that they could not risk having an unknown alone with their god. And he says that she is not important when compared to their god king. And she wonders if the god king is so important, then why are they planning to kill him? She says that she stopped having sex with him on purpose in order to get the attention of the priest. Trellides says that she must produce an heir, and Siri asks why he is so eager, but he doesn't answer. And Siri says that they cannot kill her because they need a royal heir with the royal locks. She also lets him know that she knows about Susebron's tongue and how he was virtually a child. And she notices that he gets angry when she insults Susebron, so she figures that Trellides really does care. Trellides asks if she knows about the history of the kingdom after her family had left. He explains that Peacegiver had given them over 50,000 breaths and told them to keep them safe, and they were warned not to use them. So it was necessary to remove Susebron's tongue in order to keep those breaths safe. Trellides says that he has had dealings with Ciri's father for years, and senses the same prejudice from him. Siri says that following Astra isn't ignorance, and that the Hallandren are the ones who abandoned their faith and took an easier path. Trellides says that they follow the gods who protected them when Astra failed and abandoned them to Kalad. And that Peacegiver had returned and stopped the conflict and brought peace. He gave them life and only asked them to care for his power, and they cannot let it be used, even by their god king.
I'm really, with how much she was wondering about some of this stuff, I'm surprised he's so free with so much of this information.
Yeah, which makes me think maybe maybe I'm freaking out about the priests being untrustworthy for no reason.
This mixed with some stuff that is said later makes me really, really wonder where this is going to go with the priesthood.
Yeah.
Because, he seems a little more I don't know, innocent than I expected from how he acts. Like, even the way he doesn't like her seems to genuinely be he doesn't like the intolerance he speaks of, He's so much different than I expected.
Do you guys not trust all of the priests, or do you trust because there's the brown cloak ones, which I can't remember where they're from.
Oh, the Pankal.
The ones in brown are the Pankal.
Okay, so do you trust Pankal priests?
No, I don't.
You don't, Sheta? I haven't put any thought into that. All I had was the priests who are doing this return stuff. I initially was very distrustful of,
Okay.
The other faiths and stuff I don't know enough about to say. I mean, when I'm in a foreign kingdom, I don't fucking trust anybody, so.
That's fair. I think at this point, when I read this book, after the whole reveal of Denth and Tonkfa, I was like, I trust nobody.
Yeah, that's the smart way to be.
All these people I trusted before, no more. Everybody's on the shit list.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sheta, or you want to say your reason you don't trust Blue Fingers?
No, I do not. Oh, you were talking to Sheta. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah, I'm trying to trick you. No, Sheta's been distrustful of Blue Fingers since the first chapter he came in because...
What do you mean, because?
Because his name, you said you don't trust people with finger in their name.
Yeah, no one with four fingers. Nope.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Now, if it was just one finger, like a blue pinky, fine. But blue fingers...
Blue thumb.
Green thumb, no.
That's fair.
All right. And then Siri wonders how they would move those breaths onto the next God King. And Trellides says that he can see now why her father had sent her. They should have studied all the daughters.
That was my favorite line. I'm sorry, just I see why your father sent you. You know, you're the cunning one. You know how to do this stuff. When she's like, am I even doing anything right? What's even happening here?
Yeah, totally wasn't a split-second decision.
Yeah.
Also that I was a throwaway kid and it didn't matter.
We researched about your sister and we knew how to manipulate her, but you're a cunning one, as your father knew.
It's funny. Yes, as we planned all along.
Mm-hmm. See, this level of borderline, I don't know, naivete or incompetence weirdly makes me start to completely change my thoughts on the guy. But last time I started to change my thoughts on the guy, it was Denth, so maybe I shouldn't listen to that.
That's true. Can't even trust my own instincts.
And Trellides asked what her demands are for her to go back to performing her duties. Siri says that she wants her main servants all replaced with the Pankal servants. And so Trellides agrees to this.
No, this is a bad idea.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because you don't trust Bluefinger, right?
I don't, no. I was like, why would you do this? Like,
well, isn't that the deal she made with him to help them get out or something like that?
you just should never put all your eggs in one basket. All you need is for him to be the one that working against you, and her whole plan is done. I just think that's like trusting in the Koloss to win your war for you. You know,
I don't think that's a fair comparison.
exactly the same.
The only similarity is they're both blue.
See? Wow.
Oh my God, Joe.
Oh, that's it.
Maybe you just don't trust the color blue.
I wonder why
Did
that
Smurfs
is.
hurt you when you were a kid?
Cut to my past.
Don't talk about the Smurfs. Okay, got it.
Smurfs and Blue Fingers has already come up before on this podcast.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's a natural progression. Come on. Makes sense.
All right, and Siri tells Trellides that, all right, this will earn them a few more weeks. And Trellides leaves, and Siri knows that she achieved a victory, but she also antagonized Trellides even more. And this has made her realize that it is possible to manipulate the priests, but she knew that she was trending on dangerous grounds. But when it comes
easier than I expected, by far.
Too easy, I think.
To the point where I'm worried, yeah.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Susebron's life, she was going to get him out. Hopefully, having more pawn call servants would help facilitate that escape.
Nope.
That's the chapter.
Sheta, you're kind of answering my question about whether you trust them or not. No, this sounds really bad.
Yeah, no way.
I think
Trust
Sheta
nobody.
is. Yeah, I think Sheta is broken after the dent thing.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like
I
you
was
were
the same as
describing
you.
yourself.
Yep. I was like, well,
Yeah.
never open your heart to anyone.
This is a
Sheta.
good life lesson.
Sheta, the sad thing is you did not trust them until the week before the betrayal.
I know.
All book, you're like, I don't trust these guys. These guys are evil. Week before, they're fine.
I
They're
know.
sneaky like
That's
that.
why. Yeah, that's part. They won me over just to stab me in the back. Like,
They did the same thing to me.
yeah. Oh, that's cruel.
I know. Damn you, Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, I think he knew.
He
He's
totally
playing,
knew.
You know,
You think he knew?
I think he knew what he was doing.
No, that was a last-second twist he came up with.
You know what?
It's brilliant. None of the clues pointed to it. I thought it was really funny in this chapter and interesting when she's like saying she knows he doesn't have a tongue, and he's like, oh, and she's like, did you expect me to like hook up with somebody and not notice that he's a child in his mind and has no tongue? And it really made me wonder, how naive is this guy? Like, what does he even know? You know?
Yeah, you're he's like, you're a master spy. You found that out? Like,
Yeah, how'd you find that out? So again, he's kind of like totally different than I expected. Completely different.
Yeah, that's true. We've already seen too that, I don't know, maybe this is the theme in the book, that people who are like just super devout and into their religion do seem to be more naive about stuff, like how Vivenna is. Like, they're only taught what they like need to know, or only their religion stuff, and they're not really familiar with anything outside of that, you know?
Yeah, I didn't expect him to be that way because I didn't think he'd actually be religious. I thought this was all going to be BS. A big scam they were running.
That, I feel like, is the biggest discovery in this chapter. That he really cares about Susebron and he's actually like a true believer.
Well, does he care about Susebron, or is Susebron just the way to protect what he does care about, which is those breaths that have been passed down? That's how I thought of it, at least.
Well, just when he was offended at her for calling him like a man-child.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
All right. Anything else from this chapter anybody wants to go over?
I can't believe she revealed that she knew, though. That was...
Well, like she said, they probably, if they were even half intelligent, probably already suspected that she would. I was really surprised that she's taking to this stuff really, really quickly. Like, she actually has fairly good instincts for what am I trying to say? What's it called for politics, you know, and working in the court and all that stuff. Where at the beginning, she seemed to just assume she'd be awful at it. But we've seen Vivenna's the one who'd be god awful at it, you know? So it's really, really interesting to see sides of both these characters that I did not expect when I started the book.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she'd be like Serene, where it's her like spunk that gets her through, you know? But instead, she actually seems to have some level of, so far at least, some level of half-confident competence at how to get things she wants. But we'll see if she's also too naive and trusting others.
Yeah. She's been like pivoting really well when she's talking to people. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll move on to chapter 41. And now we're back over to Vivenna. Vivenna's still on the streets, and she starts off with she's paying a man named Cads in order to allow her to eat garbage from 2 restaurants.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that.
It sounded funny though, the way that Joe put it.
Yeah, you did that on purpose.
It's not funny. It's really sad, but yeah, that was a little funny.
It's just funny to leave her off, and she's like, I guess I got a bag, and then she's paying to eat garbage, and she's really worried about not being allowed to.
Yeah. I like the contrast, too, between her sister, who was just trying out foods for the flavor, for fun, in the previous chapter.
Well, did you catch the direct commentary on that in a later chapter, Sheta?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll bring it up when we get there, because I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And then Cads complains that she only has 1 bit, and so he refuses to let her in. And she says that she hasn't eaten in days, but he tells her to do better tomorrow. And he still keeps the coin from her.
That pissed me off.
So mean.
And she knows that a week ago she had been able to eat at this same spot for just 1 bit.
Yeah, oh, bullshit. My least favorite character in the book, this guy.
Really? I thought you'd be like, he did nothing wrong.
No, this guy did something wrong.
Businessman.
No,
yeah,
he is
trying to make a living.
If he was a businessman, then he would have, sold it to her for the 1 bit, I thought it's a pretty good business to do for hungry people, sell them garbage like this, But like, if you're gonna BS people about it when they're that desperate, like, you're not a businessman because she could be dead tomorrow for all you know. But that could also just show how many homeless people there are for him to use in this way that he doesn't really give a crap. And maybe it was really good garbage today. Maybe I am being too hard.
Yeah, maybe.
Or he could have been in on the thing that was about to happen.
No.
I think you're giving him too much credit.
Because this is not the Adrian slums. This is a different part of the city. And yeah, Sheta, Justin's not going to defend this guy. He's not an upstanding citizen like the citizen or Straff, who Justin defended.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, you didn't.
You need to be a good, helpful part of society.
No, Justin.
Justin's catchphrase in Well of Ascension was Straff did nothing wrong.
Oh my god.
And also that the more we kept reading the book, the more it just kept showing how much of a loser Straff was. He also said that.
Oh, Straff was hilarious. I loved Straff.
Oh, right.
No bueno.
It's one of my absolute favorite types of villains, the completely incompetent one who has enough power and authority that they're able to keep doing stuff even though they're an idiot and a loser.
So Buggy, the clown.
Well, Buggy has a certain tenacity to him, so I don't count that. They've got to be, like, have absolutely no positive qualities whatsoever. Can't be relentless or tough. They've just got to be a fucking loser who, has a bunch of money.
I see.
And so Vivenna heads back to the Adrian slums. She does not remember how long she has been living on the streets. And she is holding her shawl close to her and is having trouble even remembering why it is important. She knew that she should not feel so distant from the person she was before, but she just felt so sick lately. And as she's walking through the streets where it's raining, she looks over at where the whores waited, and they were protected from the rain by an awning. They also looked fed, and they were not dirty. It was so tempting to join them, but Vivenna stops her. What was she thinking? She wouldn't do that. Not yet. And then she realizes that her thought was not
so
yet.
Sad. Yeah. It's really interesting to me, though, because a lot of people would go to that. I mean, I probably would go to that pretty quickly, but because she's so religious, that's like very, very bad, and stuff. So it was really interesting to see that she, even at this state, still has some level of piety she's trying to hold on to. I found that very interesting about her. Made
She's
me
religious,
respect her
but
quite a bit.
she's
What's
also a princess.
Well, that too, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say when she just decided to use her breaths right away to save herself, or when she was in danger, I wasn't surprised that she also was refraining from going there too for this, because she
Mhm.
sounded like she was in a bad place.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought that it might get to the point of like just giving up completely and enduring every hardship the world has to offer. That's where I thought this was going to go.
You
Like the
predicted that
most.
last week, yeah.
Mhm. So it's good for her that it didn't. And like I said, I thought she was going to give up. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's really interesting that she did not. I did not expect that.
Almost. I think she kind of did when.
Well, as much as you have to, right?
Yeah. Well, when the people came and found her, she's like, I'm done. This is over. Right? She kind of gave up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "What can I even do? I don't even have the strength to fight them." Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
just
give
take
up.
her-
There's a give up morally. She gave up physically because there is nothing she can do. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Anything would be
understand, yeah.
preferable. But to have some semblance of that was very interesting.
yeah.
That's fair.
Because I wouldn't last that long. So
Well, we know where to find you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy she went through this, and she had been raised to marry the God King.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That is her whole entire life. She's never been exposed to anything like this. To have this life experience is such a game changer.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I really thought it was going to be her villain arc, but it turns out to basically be her Jesus arc. It feels like like learning about all the bad of the world and facing temptation and suffering and all this stuff. Totally
Yeah.
different than I expected.
Humbling
Yeah.
yourself a bit too,
Oh yeah,
Yep.
she's totally humbled.
Mm-hmm. As she
For
says
sure.
later when she thinks, I would have looked down on these people before, but now I know better, I
Yeah.
really like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she looked down on everyone, like for the slums, the Adrian slums. Like, wow, how could you make people be like this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this whole like Vivenna section it's always made me think of like the early parts of Les Mis.
Yeah.
All right, where was I? All right. Yeah, and so Vivenna, after she thinks not yet, she realizes that she just thought not yet, and she needs to get out of this city. Better to die or be tortured by death than to end up in a brothel.
Yep, see. A lot of people wouldn't agree with that.
No.
And then Vivenna heads into an alley and lies down. She notices some people coming to the alley behind her, and she gets up to run, but then some people appear in front of her too. And she sees the man who had robbed her on her first night. And he says that he is sorry, but the bounty for her has just gotten too high. And Vivenna's just too exhausted to run or fight back, so she just gives up.
Was it the guy who stole the dress? Was it that
Yes.
guy? Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, because he had recognized her that first night.
Yeah.
Dang, we're gonna have to cast him too.
He's not a very big character.
He makes a second appearance. So
So who's your casting then?
For this guy?
I've got a couple ideas.
I'll
For
cast an
dress stealer.
unknown but talented actor. That's mine.
Tom
Yeah, it could
Cruise.
be.
Tom Cruise as this guy.
Tom Cruise as Vivenna's dress stealer.
Yeah.
Doesn't even get a name. Like,
All right, and then the men grab her, and she follows them out of the alley. She just could not summon the energy to care. And then the thugs stop walking, and Vivenna looks up to see a black sword in a silver sheath rammed into the ground in front of them. One of the men grabs the sword and unclasps the sheath, and Vivenna feels sudden nausea. The men who don't have the sword go for it, and the one with the sword attacks and kills them, with the sword still in its sheath. The clothing on the sword wielder's arm has disintegrated, and he has black vines twisting up his arms.
What the fuck?
And then he ends it by shoving the sheathed sword through his chest, even though the sheath does not look sharp at all.
I'm starting to think that all the stuff with the colors is just to make this sword seem even more crazy and badass when it comes in and does some crazy shit that we haven't really seen explored yet. Because I'm surprised the color stuff doesn't do more. So again, I really think it's to build up this sword being like everything's so pretty and colorful, and this sword is nightmarish.
Yeah, it's black, which is like anti-color. So I feel like this sword is the embodiment of evil.
I love Nightblood.
Nightblood did nothing wrong. Is that what I'm
No,
hearing?
Nightblood never does anything wrong.
He doesn't. He's just doing what he's meant to do.
Yeah, he's a good
What the
sword.
What?
He does
He's
good
a
job.
good sword.
When Vivenna picked it up, didn't it say, "Hi, you want to kill people today?" Am I
Yeah.
remembering that wrong?
Yeah, he did.
You know what I'd do if I met somebody who that was the first thing they said to me? I would not think they were a good person.
Yeah, but it was a
That's
test.
sword.
Nightblood was just testing her,
Yeah, is that it?
right? And she's
Yeah,
like, I want to do
that's
that.
what
I'm gonna throw
crazy
up.
hobos down the street are doing too, and they say the same thing to me.
Yeah. Doesn't he usually say, "Do you want to kill some evil today?"
Yeah.
He did
only
tell
evil
Vasher.
person.
He did tell Vasher back in chapter 29 that, that Shishara had created him and made him to destroy things that were evil.
Yeah, see, he's a good sword.
Oh, okay, if you say so, but I ain't
Yes.
picking it up.
Well, that depends. Yeah.
Well, you don't know if you would pick it up until it was in
Exactly.
front of you.
No
True.
way. Keep that thing away from me.
You might be compelled to pick it up.
Yeah,
Well, I'll
Then
I'll
we'll
try
know.
not to.
and we'll
And
know for sure.
We'll know. We'll know what? We haven't had anything confirmed yet about
We'll
this
know.
sword.
We'll know if you're evil or not. Clearly, if you throw up, you're good. If you pick it up, you're evil and you're dead.
That's what I'm getting from it so far.
All right.
Yeah.
I think it's just a psychopathic sword. That's mine.
Well, yeah, it's got to be a little bit.
And then Vasher walks down the street and picks up the sword. Vivenna just stared ahead dully. She doesn't even flinch as Vasher picks her up and slings her over his shoulder. And that's the chapter.
So I'm really interested here. Like, we don't know a lot of the rules of being drab, and I'm just so curious how much of this is being drab and how much is just being in this horrible situation. Because I could see not having the will to do anything being because of that aspect, like missing your soul or whatever. But it also, the way she thought it out in her head made just as sense. Like, what does it matter? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, is obviously purposeful, but it's just different than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
We also learned in a later chapter that she was sick as well.
Well, yeah, but that was the I lost my train of thought.
The what?
It's gone forever.
The bug bite sickness. I can't remember what it's called either.
It's.
I probably have it written down when we get there.
Is it called Lyme disease?
Sure. It'll be Warbreaker's version of Lyme disease.
Kind of makes me wonder if being a drab actually exists or does any difference or not, too. Or if people who wind up like that are just in such a bad state that, like, usually they're so poorly off. No, but we saw that kid who gave Lightsong turn it, but I don't think he was with her long enough to really say any differences. I can't remember.
All I remember them saying at that point was the kid lost the light in their eyes.
Yeah. Well, that's not a good thing.
No.
So sad.
Yeah.
The baby.
This is why I don't really like any of the Return, no matter how charming or fun they are. Even Susebron. Like, all of them, I'm like...
No, yeah, I was like...
You
ain't
eat
right.
people.
Yeah.
That's why they hate themselves. Like, that's why Lightsong's
Most
like,
of them...
you know...
Yeah, Lightsong does.
The one
The
girl
others-
was the only good one of us. We're all terrible, you know? Like,
Any Returned who are still alive are terrible, basically.
yeah, basically. And I was like, I'm always mad too when they don't give up their power and they keep just living. Nope, I'm gonna keep eating people and living.
Well, it's interesting because you're not killing them, so you can
Yeah.
justify it pretty easy. And you're supposedly here for some purpose, so if you don't feel like you know your purpose, like, it'd be really easy to justify doing.
It just is terrible. You just burn through it too. That's what I hate about them.
How fast it is.
They just burn through the breath. They don't
Mhm.
save it or anything. So
Yeah, it is hard to imagine being in that situation because the alternative is you die. And most
Mhm.
people are driven towards self-preservation, right? So
Mhm.
It's a tough predicament, and the people
Well,
don't actually die, and they still are told they live
Yep.
full lives.
I guarantee if I was in this position, if I kept some element of my personality, I would go for it because it'd be too easy to justify. There's
Yeah,
a million
same,
reasons
probably.
to continue doing it.
We're
Yeah.
learning a lot about you today, Justin.
Turn to prostitution, eat children, all that stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
I would maybe ask, can it not be a child?
Yeah.
Child's better. Then they don't know what they're missing.
Oh, jeez.
But they have a whole
Also,
life.
here's the sad part. I bet the children are the only ones you can talk into it because, their family will get paid and they probably are like taken care of in some way. And they probably think, oh, we'll buy her another one someday. But also they're like, it's for God, honey. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And it's a thing you barely even have a concept of,
Yeah. You
Where,
don't even notice.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
And
heard it
so
from that one girl's point of view.
Which one?
Jules?
Yeah, Jules.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
part of
yeah.
her story. Yeah.
And
Well, I
Jules
think
was like, I'm honored, right? That's how they were brought up. Like, I'm honored the God King has my breath, right?
Yep.
Yeah, she was honored, and also her parents had already sold their breaths as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, these are not people in the best situations at all. This is one of the most blatant metaphors I think we've ever seen of like class differences and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And
Right.
because the returned are all cooped up in that castle, even though they see people coming in and pleading and shit, they don't actually really get a sense of what the real world's like that much. I don't think they really fully grasp how much it sucks out there for this area. So when they're like, "Yep, somebody's coming in to donate their breath," it's just a part of the blessing or a part of the religious ceremonies. They're just kind of sleepwalking through.
Mm.
This is why I didn't trust the priesthood. Everything is too set up and easy to continue going the way it's going.
You know what it reminds me of is like a zoo where you can feed the animals and go look at them and stuff. That's what it reminds me of because they're in
Which
a cage.
part?
The returned are in a cage and people come visit them and they feed them.
Oh, I see.
All right. Anything else from this chapter anybody wants to go over?
No.
All right. So on to chapter 42. So now we jump over to Lightsong, and he is outside Allmother's palace, and one of her priestesses says that Allmother still will not see him after she has asked 14 times. And Allmother has told her to refuse to ask any more times. So Lightsong asks her, well, did he tell other priestesses that they can't ask her? No? All right, get me one of those. And while this priestess is exasperated and just leaves to go get this other priestess, Larmar asks Lightsong, he's like, weren't you planning on not annoying anyone anymore? But Lightsong said that, he said nothing of the sort. The priestess comes back and says that Allmother has refused all of her priests from asking her anymore and about Lightsong, and also to ignore any letters or any other ways to contact her from him. So Lightsong asks Larmar to set up his pavilion right here in front of her palace, which shocks both Larmar and the priestess. Lightsong says that he will prove that he can be just as stubborn as Allmother. And then
I really wanted to see that put to the test. I wanted to see how long he would wait there. Like, cut to like a year later, he's still sitting there trying to out-stubborn her.
Yep, this is the end of him in this book. We have to wait for the next one, and then we finally see Allmother talk to him. And then Lightsong pulls out the lifeless squirrel and tells it to run to the palace, find the return that lives there, run around her and shriek loudly, and also to break as much furniture as it can.
When we were saying we wanted this squirrel to stay around and be a thing, I don't think we actually thought that it would.
No, I was so happy to see. Yay, squirrel.
Yay, squirrel.
He's being really useful.
Mm-hmm.
And the priestess is horrified as she watches the squirrel run inside the palace, and so she chases after it. Larmar says that command was just too much for a squirrel to understand. But Lightsong says
that was my exact thought. I was like, bro, what are you talking about? That'll never work. I was actually kind of annoyed if that was going to work. So it's funny that they pointed out, and then it still somehow works.
Well, the squirrel didn't follow at least one command, and that was, don't let anybody catch you.
That's an impossible command to follow.
Yeah. Lightsong says that it will work out as he hears screaming coming from within the palace. Then it cuts to several hours later, and Lightsong is listening to a musician in his pavilion when a priestess comes out and says that Allmother will meet with him now. I think it was during this too where he mentioned that he was going to try to eat and drink very little. That way he wouldn't have to go to the bathroom as often. So there is the
So
question.
they do use the bathroom. Okay.
There's the answer to that question that you asked a couple weeks ago.
Aha. Yes.
I was very curious about that. But here's the real question. Do they need to? Or is it just a body response? That's my question. Do
Well,
they
they-
actually recycle nutrients and stuff in
They
any
don't
way
need to eat,
whatsoever?
though. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
No,
if
they
they
don't.
just chose not to, would
Yeah.
they have the same negative effects a human does?
I think they might get full of crap.
This is what I'm asking Brandon Sanderson if I ever meet him.
What are they gonna say? Oh
So,
yeah.
there was Jordan Con, which is like a Wheel of Time convention every year. There was Brandon Sanderson's team there, and they were letting people come up and ask them any question from the books. So you need to go to Jordan Con. So you need to read Wheel of Time. They need to go to Jordan Con, and then you need to ask Brandon Sanderson's team any question about the books.
I was really hoping that you were going to say, and they asked that exact question.
No, sorry.
No one
I
cares
wish I could
about
say that,
yeah.
but no. But that's what you need to do. They will answer one question.
Well, that's fine.
It
How
was
much
fun.
food can a returned hold in without using the bathroom before they get so full of fecal matter?
Yeah, write it down for when you go to Jordan Con and find them, or they're probably at Dragonsteel too, because I think Dragonsteel is Brandon Sanderson's convention. But yeah, it is possible to ask these questions.
The funny part would be, Justin, if you ask the question and then Brandon Sanderson's just read and find out. Raffo.
Yeah.
That would
Stop spoiling my next plot line.
That's usually if people ask something that either he already knows that's going to be revealed in an upcoming thing, or it's something where he hasn't really thought too much about it, so he hasn't quite decided on it. Then he'll just say, "Yeah, Raffo, read and find out."
That's a good way to do it.
Yep. I think I asked them about another character's favorite hat from another series that you guys haven't read yet. Who is this character's
So
favorite
does
hat?
this team have authority to just answer random questions like that?
I think so. I mean,
Wow.
they seemed pretty confident and authoritative on their answers. So
I would never trust anyone to answer my questions for me.
You would if they were that unimportant of questions. Because then somebody just writes it down. You're like, okay, what was his favorite hat? Let me go check on my wiki page. Okay, there we go. Nice and done. Who gives
I just didn't know what to ask, and I just wanted a ribbon. So they hand out these ribbons that go on your badge, and then you get trails of them by the end. And I was like, I'm just gonna ask something because I want a ribbon, but I hadn't read very much Cosmere then, so I didn't really know what to ask. But, so
Yep, ribbons like that. Those were at the anime convention we went to. People have those.
Yeah, but these sound like really epic ones.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, I know, for questions that get asked to Brandon directly, there's a whole website of Words of Brandon, or WOBS, that a big database that you can search through. So all the stuff that he answers, you can search through, and because people put them in there.
Oh, nice. See, we're not allowed to do that stuff yet.
Yeah, it's because I know one question I have for him. I just need to know why he decided to change the epigraph in one of the chapters in Well of Ascension for later printings. Other revisions he made in later printings of the book, I can understand why that happened. That one, I cannot figure out why he made that decision.
Interesting.
He's gonna kick you off the stage if you ask that.
That's the one question I don't want.
You fucking question me.
That
I'm Brandon
question,
fucking Sanderson.
That question could be an email.
Back to Lightsong. Yep, so he walks into Allmother's palace and he goes into the area where she's currently hearing petitions. And he thinks about how the last time he was in Allmother's palace, he was here with Calmseer the night before she gave up her breath. And Allmother listens to a petition from a man who had lost his leg and now has starving children. She says that she won't heal him, but she will instead get him a job sewing fishing net. And she will also give him food to help tide him over until he learns his new craft.
I was like, thank God, this is what I thought they should have been doing. So I'm glad to have one who even did it, even if she's doing it kind of more for, I don't know, optics and stuff, or she claims.
Just kind of
But I was
casually
like,
doing it.
yeah, what's the point of sitting here listening to this stuff to just say, nah, when you could so easily help these people if you're their gods,
Allmother leaves the petition area and she meets with Lightsong. And she gives him the squirrel, and he is shocked that it actually was able to find her and run around screaming. Allmother is annoyed that he is doing shit like this, and says that it could undermine the
doing
gods and their
shit like
followers'
this. Is that how she said it?
Paraphrasing.
Well, Allmother's badass.
Mm-hmm.
Get your shit together, Lightsong.
Why am I even talking to you?
Yeah, she says that it could undermine the gods in their followers' eyes. And Lightsong says that, maybe the people are right to lose faith in their gods. And Allmother says that if they lost their followers, then they would also lose access to their breaths and die.
I completely agree with her at 100%. She's saying a lot of the things I've been thinking about this whole setup.
And then Lightsong tells her that he is here to give her his lifeless commands. Blushweaver has half the army now, which makes her the second most powerful person in the kingdom after Susebron. And Lightsong thinks that someone needs to match her, so that way she doesn't do anything rash. And Allmother says that Calmseer trusted Lightsong, and Lightsong says that was her one flaw. And Allmother says that Calmseer was the best of them. And so Lightsong just straight up tells her his security phrase. Allmother responds that she's not letting him get out of this so easily. Something is happening in the city, and she's not letting him wiggle out of doing his part. He was chosen for this. So she also tells him her security.
Ooh.
Uno reverse card.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I thought it was so cowardly when he just told her. He's like, okay, yeah, now you have the responsibility. And she's like, yeah, no, now you do too.
Mm-hmm.
Lightsong is shocked that she would trust him with this. And Allmother says that she had dreamed of him coming to visit her for the past week. And so she knew this was coming. And that someday he will get over himself. This isn't about themselves, and it is time they start doing a better job of things. Lightsong says that every time he tries to do something, it ends in a disaster. Allmother says the commands are his, and she's curious to see what he does with them. And that's the end of that chapter.
I like her.
Yeah, I like her too.
I mean, I like that she's making sense. She's saying things that are true, which I like.
She's just living up to her name as Allmother,
Mm-hmm. She seems to be serious about her respect for the one who died, too, in that giving up the commands. Which is, smart. If you're really worried about Blushweaver, which I'm glad that they are, because I don't trust her.
Yeah.
I like the idea of them both having it. That's smarter,
100%. I'm glad to learn too that we finally learn what Lightsong kind of thinks of Blushweaver. Like, he's going around with her getting the commands, but he's kind of like, I'm not on your team or anything, If anything, he was going along to keep an eye on her and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Allmother is a good role model for all of the other returned.
Again, they should all be doing that.
They should.
Like she says.
Should.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just to be a good person or some shit. It's because they can't live if we don't give them breath, So the idea that you just sit there and manipulate little kids into giving it to you is fucked up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll only last for so long.
That too, yeah. Especially if, like she's saying, where they've... sorry, I totally lost it. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
No.
Just been not having it be a two-sided deal. Not giving the people what people would expect out of their gods. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. They're gonna stop believing in you, or...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh, what if they're like fairies and you gotta believe in them for them to be alive and have their powers?
I mean, I don't see any evidence to the contrary because we know so little about them.
I do believe in fairies. I do.
Yep, that's the part I think of. That's gonna be the climax of the book.
They gotta clap their hands really hard to help Susebron come back to life. Is that it?
Yep. They all clap together, and then magic is restored. Good guys win.
Yay! Happy ending.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a happy ending for the Returned. I don't know how there could be. They're destined to die.
Yeah,
I imagine a happy ending would be fulfilling whatever purpose they were sent down for, if that's even a real thing.
Yeah. They're already on borrowed time, right? Like,
Blushweaver doesn't seem to think so.
no.
Well, Susebron's been a return for 50 years.
Well, he's the God King. That's different. But whenever Siri? Yeah, it's like, yes, we'll run away together. I'm like, this, how do you imagine this is going to work out? Like,
You're right.
he's not like a regular guy. It's a whole weird ass thing.
He's gonna become a farmer, and you guys are just gonna live in the woods.
Yeah, I
You guys-
assume at this point he glows in the dark, like, but in the daylight, right? Like, he's just like,
Oh, yeah,
right,
That
I-
too.
I didn't even
walk out. Like,
Yeah, I didn't even consider just how they're going to keep a low profile.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was just kind of calculating. So you said 50 years. I knew that was a thing, but he's been taking 2 breaths a week for
Mhm.
50 years
Yeah,
on top of what he already had.
it's crazy.
That is crazy. That's a lot.
What are
See,
they gonna do with that?
I don't know.
You said, Sheta, they're going to give him a fake tongue so he can do some spells.
What spells?
Like, just sew him a tongue in so he can use his breath.
I mean, no. Like, I mean, what are the priest's plans, and what's the plan for that power? You know, they said they were saving it for the return of Peacegiver, but I don't know.
Hey, maybe that'll happen in here.
Yeah, I wonder if that will happen.
Like if how did I forget his name? Our main returned guy is secretly that or
Lightsong?
something.
Lightsong?
What's that? Lightsong,
You-
yeah.
You think Lightsong is Peacegiver?
Well, I don't think so, but I'm saying it could be something like that where
Mm.
it's already returned. Maybe
I
that's
think
why
it
they
would-
need their air so much too for some reason.
I think it would be a bigger deal if he was. But maybe any one of
No
the
idea.
returned can become Peacegiver? So this is not the theory section, so I'll just be quiet.
Okay, you be quiet. No theorizing off schedule. Don't make Joe grab out the whip.
Okay.
You guys are so much more structured than we are, but I like it. It's great. We just,
If a whip is structure, then yes, we have that.
yes. We just blurt out everything all the time. Alan's like, that happens like 3 chapters from now. I'm like, oh, sorry. I'm just excited.
I also like early Wheel Reads episodes. You'd always go back. Yep, here are the predictions you said last week. Eventually, it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, yeah, you said stuff. Let's
Yeah,
go.
we don't even do that anymore. It used to be a lot more structured, and now we're just like, whatever, we just talk about the book.
But also the early parts, it was back there in like 2020, so he had more time.
This is true. Yeah, we just have a lot of fun, and there's really no structure.
Joe, why are you making us have all this structure? I want to just yell out random stuff about boats.
Yeah.
No,
I
it's
thought-
great,
yeah.
though. It's good. It is really good. I do like it.
Well, there is structure.
I'm just kidding. I know.
Yeah, we have the only structure we have is we have our who's your favorite character this week at the end. And we have about 20 minutes of just talking about whatever we want to in the beginning. You guys have nice questions to answer. We don't have any of that. We're just like, what'd you have for dinner?
Nice
Joe,
questions.
if you ever ask me what we had for dinner, I am going to I do not want to
Aw, I
answer
wanna
that
know. That's a
officially.
fun one. That's an
Also, I would
interesting
not say the questions I asked at the beginning are nice.
Oh, well, they seemed nice today.
He's just putting on airs for you.
Well, it was nice. I liked it.
Well, it's better than when I asked like Justin or Sheeta, yeah, come up with a question, and Sheeta's like, "Who's your favorite Hello Kitty character?"
Those are the kind of things I'm
Hello
interested in.
Kitty.
That's about the extent of my knowledge.
Right?
Wow.
I'm unfamiliar with that. Sorry.
No, she asked your favorite Sanrio character, even more specific.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
That's what Hello Kitty is from.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, no, I got nothing.
So you'd never
Or-
play Hello Kitty Island Adventure?
No,
If
sorry.
you want to learn about all the friends, then that's the game.
Okay, noted.
If you like Animal Crossing, you should play it for sure.
Oh, see, I've always wanted to get into Animal Crossing, but I have not played it because I don't have like any game consoles.
Well, that
let's see.
does help. That
That
does
is a
hinder.
problem.
I know. I have a computer and an iPad, and if I can't play it on either of those.
Oh, you can play it on the iPad. It's on Apple Arcade.
Oh, it is? Oh my
Yep.
God. Okay, I am.
Not Animal Crossing. Hello Kitty.
Oh, darn it. Okay, I mean, yeah, Hello Kitty. Yay.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, that was a very Cosmere Reads of us.
Yeah.
Back to-
You're indoctrinating us.
I know. Sorry.
We've gone on rants before. Our rants usually wind up with us complaining about adaptations of
Or
stuff.
Star Wars
okay.
specifically.
All right. Well, let's go on to chapter 43. Vivenna wakes up in a comfy bed in a room with Vasher.
Ooh. Sorry.
She is wearing clothes and she has been just cleaned.
I just got to say before you get there, how blunt she is about what she asks him was almost freaky to me. That
It shows
she's
she's
living
on the streets. Yeah.
Exactly. She's living in a situation where she's like, I have no control over my life. That was really, really scary, I felt. Because that's not the kind of way she'd ever talk before.
Yep, because the first thing she asks Vasher is if he raped her.
Yeah. Fair question.
I mean, the evidence points, so.
Yeah, and she doesn't really know anything about Vasher at this point,
Mm-mm.
except for Dent just...
Yeah,
talking
apparently
crap
Vasher
about
is a
it, you know?
horrible guy. Right?
Yeah.
Evil incarnate.
Yeah.
Worst guy ever. And so if
Could
Dent
never
says
beat
that,
Dent in a fight.
yeah. I would love to see him kick Dent's ass. I need that scene.
I don't know.
They better have the ultimate showdown and where he just does that. And then at that point he'll be like, this is for Vivenna because I love her now.
No, no,
That's what I want to happen.
New ship.
no. It's been, oh God.
I dig it. Vasher and Vivenna sitting in a
Oh
tree.
God.
Yay. Oh, both their names start with V.
Right? I just had that
Fine.
thought too.
Yeah.
That's
It's
evidence.
perfect.
Yep.
Is that a plus? Like, does that matter?
We'll call him like VV.
Yeah.
Oh,
Vash
God,
Venna.
no.
Yeah.
I like Vivenna. I do have to
Vivenna.
admit that almost
Yeah,
warms
see?
me up to the
That's
idea.
good. I
Okay.
like this. We're coming up with such good stuff, Tree.
Yeah. We're a good team.
Yeah.
You people are insane.
And Vasher responds that he has no temptation from a woman who has slept with Denth.
Oh God,
Wow.
what a response. Jesus.
Rude.
I know, rude. I was like, wow, seriously? You don't even know me, is what I would say. I can't
Yeah.
believe that.
Well, that's also tells us, does Dent get around a lot? Like, is that like something just to be expected? Because he is quite charming and stuff.
I bet he does. Oh my gosh, that's another element I don't like about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
She says that she did not sleep with Denth, so Vasher figures out that Denth had fooled her. And then he tells Vivenna that the woman who runs this building is the one that had cleaned and dressed her.
Yeah.
Vivenna says that he saved her, but Vasher just says that he was just keeping a tool out of Denth's hand. She says that she feels sick, and Vasher says that she has traumaria.
So we have
That's
trauma.
the Lyme disease. Traumaria.
She likely got it a few weeks ago from insect bites, and it stays with you if you are weak. And he tells her that she deserves to feel sick. She asks how long she was unconscious, and he answers a week.
Wow.
Dang, yeah.
So I'm curious, if she's been unconscious for a week, has he been just sitting in this room for an entire week just waiting for her to wake up?
I
Or
highly
is this
doubt
just
it.
a happy coincidence that she woke up when he was in the room?
He seems
I'm
like a
gonna
busy
guess-
guy.
I don't know. Guys like this, you've got your mission, you got to go do it, and then the rest of the time you're just sitting and hiding, sharpening your sword, all creepy, you know?
Yeah, but he said he's been like trying to drum up some people to care about stuff, you know? I feel like this is just a tiny apartment and he has to eat in this room, so that's why he's here.
I guess he is eating.
Yeah.
I said it's just a studio apartment. Bachelor
Yeah.
pad.
You're
Nothing
paying half the
profound,
rent now,
don't
Vivenna.
worry. I'm just saying words.
Yeah.
Vasher asked if she gave her breath to Denth, and she says yes. And Vasher can tell that she is lying. So she says that her breaths are in her shawl. Vasher leaves to grab the shawl, and while he's out of the room, Vivenna begins eating Vasher's food.
Like a raccoon.
So this is the part I said earlier we had Siri saying, "Oh, I just can't eat seafood. I cannot get used to it," And then here we have Vivenna saying she didn't even mind seafood anymore. Like neither of them liked seafood because of where they're from. And we watch one taking small bites of foods to try them and not liking them. And then chapters later, which I thought was interesting, not just the next, we have her sister say the same thing in the reverse way of like, I don't even give a shit. Like, this is so great to eat.
Well, if you were paying to eat garbage, it's quite the upgrade.
Yeah, I'll take the seafood. Yeah.
Literally, beggars can't be choosers for here.
Mm-hmm. It really makes me wonder if they ever meet again, what kind of state they're each going to be in and what they're going to think of each other. Because before, I thought they would meet as enemies, but now I'm starting to think they may, grow a deeper understanding of each other in a lot of ways. So I'm curious to see.
And they better meet up again. I'd be too sad if they didn't.
They'll either meet up again or they'll tragically die very close to meeting up. One of the two.
Don't say that, Justin. How could you? I will quit the book.
I couldn't see anything besides that happening.
No, I can't.
Are you talking about Vivenna and Siri right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Sisters,
sorry.
Yeah.
Sheta, maybe you should read more Shakespeare. Get used to all the characters dying.
Those I've been used to for hundreds of years. This is a brand new book.
You've been used to it for hundreds of years.
Yeah, Sheta's returned.
You
Yes,
seem
I'm returned.
Great for your age. Very lively.
When Vasher gives her the shawl back, Vivenna is surprised that he is allowing her to take the breaths back. And he says that only she can take the breaths out of the shawl. She says that she doesn't know how to do it, which shocks Vasher. And he asked how she was able to escape, and she says that she had awakened the ropes to escape from guessing. And Vasher responds, well, I guess you are part of the royal line. Vivenna asks what he means by that, but Vasher just ignores her and tells her the command to get the breaths back.
I hate when people ignore things like that in books. Something cryptic, and they didn't respond.
That's for a later part of the show.
And Vivenna takes the breaths back and is literally floored by the sensation of it all. Vasher says that it isn't usually so bad if you take the breaths back within a few hours of releasing them, but if you wait, then it's like getting them for the first time. Vivenna notices that her sickness has been healed. Vasher says that he won't force her to give him the breaths, but he probably should. She is more trouble than she is worth. And Vivenna is already feeling like her time on the streets was just a surreal bubble and it was disconnected from her life. But she forces herself to remember it all.
I like that too, instead of just trying to put it behind you. It's a very character building time in her life.
Yeah. You definitely, that's a wise thing to do, to say, I'm going to grow from this instead of just ignore it.
Yeah, I don't want to fucking think about that anymore,
Yeah, like, okay, that's done, thank God, I'm not going to think about it again. And a lot of people do that with their real traumas, and they don't really grow or get stronger from it. So
Vasher tells her that it's time to leave, and he gives her man's clothes to wear. And she's like, what? I'm not wearing this. He tells her that, he's not going to be going out and buying her fancy dress. After spending time only wearing that shift on the streets, Vivenna, takes the clothes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember her complaining about that at all. Like, maybe in her head she thought for a second, but I don't think she will be complaining about anything ever for the rest of her life.
It's interesting in a little bit when she describes what it's like to wear pants, the weird feeling of having skirts dangle around your feet. I thought was very funny.
Yeah, that's fair.
I never thought of it that way.
It is kind of odd, though. Like, if you're a person that likes wearing dresses, then you wear pants, and then, or vice versa. Like, if someone only ever wears pants and they wear a dress, like, it is a different feeling.
Yeah, it feel, especially in an old timey time, it would feel like wrong. It would feel
like she would have never worn pants ever, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a skirt person, so everything's like hugging all of the things. And
I would think like her. You do feel weirdly exposed. Like everyone can see the shape of your legs. Like
It'd be like if somebody came up and gave you like a clown outfit, and you're like, I can't wear this. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Actually, I'm terrified of clowns, so I just run around naked. I'm fine. I don't need clothes.
You need to become what you fear.
No, I refuse.
You know, you're being scared of clowns. You're part of the reason why we don't get Ronald McDonald anymore.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not
Is it
sorry.
really?
About that. Sorry, not sorry.
I was
So,
wondering where he went. I thought he
So-
committed a crime or something.
I don't know. I think it's just like weird timing. But the time that they retired the character was also that weird time a number of years ago when people were just doing clown sightings all around the place.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see them overreacting to that.
Yeah,
But honestly, I think it was just timing and they already had it planned. But the weird thing now is that they brought back like all the other like Happy Meals characters like Grimace and
Yeah, bring
the
back Ronald.
Hamburglar. But Ronald McDonald they have not brought back.
Bring him
that's
back.
crazy. I didn't notice that. So I knew they brought back Grimace, and they were doing like those little like Minecraft characters, like Grimace and everything. But I didn't even notice they didn't bring back Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because he's like the head honcho, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, the charity is still called the Ronald McDonald House.
That's true.
Yeah. Just bring Ronald McDonald back. I mean, I don't like clowns, but like, it's
He
fine.
gets a
It's
pass,
Ronald McDonald.
right?
No, he gets a pass. He does get a pass. Maybe he looks too much like it.
He really doesn't.
No, I don't know. I can't actually remember. I'm trying to remember what he looks like. Like he's got red hair and stuff. I don't know.
He looks like what you have nightmares about.
Yeah, probably.
Pretty scary.
Except that
I'm like questioning whether I want to Google right now, and I'm like, no, I think I'm good. I think I'll pass on
It's
that
okay, I'll
one.
put it in there for you.
Yeah, you do that and give us a audio description of Ronald McDonald. For those that do not remember.
Yeah, it's a good thing you didn't Google him up. These pictures, if you're not into clowns, they're pretty nightmarish.
I don't know why. I'm just like, ever since I was a kid, just no on clowns. Hard no. I can't even like think of what it could be.
They're a little uncanny. That's pretty
They
scary.
are uncanny, yeah.
So, it looked like a group of annoying loser busybody physicians and health professionals had a campaign to get it so that clowns were not targeting fast food to children for a while. That was one of the main reasons. Then he was used less after the 2016 clown thing you were talking about, but he does still appear from time to time. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that they're in so many horror movies, right? Like,
They're a very common phobia.
they are.
I mean, if you want to see real nightmare, look up this original Ronald McDonald as pictured on the United States trademark application on Wikipedia. This is literal nightmare fuel.
Yeah,
This
I
is
will not
creepy.
be doing that.
Send it to me.
Everyone else listening to the podcast, you should do that, but I am not going to be one of those people.
All right. Back to Nalthus. All right. So Vivenna asks Vasher, what he's going to have her do, and he answers that he's going to block what Denth is working toward. Vivenna says that Denth was only doing what she asked him to do just to placate her, which makes Vasher laugh.
He's like, oh, no, baby. Yeah, no, that's not right.
Vivenna says that
He
she
was
was trying to
using
help
you.
her.
Oh, good.
Vivenna says that she was trying to help her people in the upcoming war against Hallandrin. Vasher says that Hallandrin is not their enemy, and now the priests have good reason to act as they have been acting. He tells Vivenna that what she has been doing with Denth has been pushing the countries closer to war. She was the one on the wrong side.
I really liked this part. I really liked them going through what was going on because it seemed totally pointless to me before. And I was complaining about it, and I'm like, oh, I was right to. This was not a good thing. This was not helpful at all.
Good instincts.
Well, no, I just didn't like it from a narrative point of view.
Oh,
I thought this
see.
isn't going anywhere. And I was right. It wasn't going anywhere
I
that
see.
it said it was going. It was going towards something more interesting. So I thought that was really...
That's funny.
Yep. Denth has been hired by someone to start a war between Idris and Hallandrin, and Vivenna was the perfect pawn to use.
Blushweaver. I'm sorry, I coughed.
Just going to say, I thought this was really interesting because when I was listening to your podcast from last week, you had brought this up about who is paying these people to do these things, right? Like, you just brought this up last week, and then this came up. So I thought, I was really interested to hear your thoughts again.
Yep. I think it's Blue Fingers. That's my
Blue Fingers.
You think
Smurf
it's Bluefinger?
Yeah.
You think that the not the Conpar, that's a different book. What are they called in here?
Ponkar.
Ponkal. You think that they're like a evil cult organization who's going to try to make a move in and like take over both kingdoms?
They just want their religion to be the religion. You know? They've been serving this one, which is like a what is it when you just come in and take over a kingdom?
Usurp?
Yeah, usurpers. Yeah.
Usurp.
Yes. They just came in and overthrew the real royal family and then established themselves as the religion and the king. Like, you can't just do that. So,
well, technically,
when you put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Technically, what?
I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Yep, and he says that that Vivenna had given the people someone of the royal line to rally behind. And Vasher had underestimated her stupidity and had assumed that she had also wanted to start a war. As Vasher and Vivenna are walking in the streets, Vivenna thinks about what has happened to her. She thinks that she should have realized that Dent was pushing towards a war. And she says that everyone such as Dent and her father said that war was inevitable. Vasher says that they're wrong. War has been close to decades between the two countries, but never happens.
Man, this book badmouths her father when he's not around all the time. It's just like, he's just every chance it gets to say that he's stupid or wrong about something, it pretty much does, even though he like never appears.
Yeah, I mean, how much do we know about this guy though? Like,
not
the
much.
fact that he trained his oldest daughter for her whole life and then sent the youngest daughter. Like, how competent is this man?
And as a last second decision. There was 1 second at the beginning of the book where I thought, maybe he's got a plan and he knows what he's doing. And that was very quickly proven to not be true.
Yeah.
When I saw how poorly trained Vivenna was in the first place.
Yeah.
He's just like, well, I love Vivenna more. I don't want her to leave. Send the other one.
You know what? Yeah. Just swap it. Last second. Never mind. Swap it.
Like, that was literally his strategic plan. I can't let this daughter go. I love her too much. We'll send the spare.
Yeah, if they hold her hostage, I won't be able to ignore whatever they demand. Yeah. But her, I think I could live without that one.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, so he's very much he seems like a king that just flies by the seat of his pants and whatever his heart tells him to do.
So,
you know,
yeah.
which is
you'd think
not great.
You would have made this decision years ago. You know.
Yeah.
It was like the day too, where he's like, I got to do that today. I don't really want to like.
Yeah, Siri was just out frolicking and grabbing flowers and shit. She didn't expect any of this.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
Well, he was like reacting because he got the letter from them, being like, "Hey, send your daughter." I think he was just kind of hoping maybe they'll forget.
Yeah. He seems like a nice guy.
No.
He seems nice. Does he seem like a great king? I don't know if he's a good king, but he seems nice.
I don't have any evidence that he's bad or evil, but he's not smart.
Yeah.
Plenty of people who aren't evil I would not want as king.
Yeah.
Like Ellen.
Oh.
He was a good emperor. He was a bad king.
Oh, I see. Well, how is Ellen going to benefit me? After he became emperor, you know, besides saving the world and all that, like, things didn't really go so well for the common folk. That's all I'm saying.
He had to work with what he had. The world was going to shit, you know?
That is true. But,
now, Justin, who would you say is the better king, Dedelin or Iadon?
Is Dedelin this king?
Yes.
Well, I actually haven't seen enough of how he rules his people.
He could have a cult too.
Iadon was loved his people so much he was willing to sacrifice poor innocent girls for it, Joe. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, wow. Willing to?
Happy to. Okay. He loved his work.
Oh, no.
Then is it really a sacrifice, Justin?
I mean, you're not
true.
wrong. Perks of the job.
Yeah. I'm glad he's dead.
It's like, some of you may die. but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that again?
That's Lord
It's from
Shrek.
Shrek.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
from-
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
from Lord Fuckwad.
Farquaad.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a funny line.
All right. Back to our book. All right. Vivenna talks about how useless she is, but Vasher says that Dent has been working on this for a long time. Vivenna asks who hired Dent, but Vasher doesn't know. He thinks it must be one of the gods or maybe a group of priests. Vivenna asks why Vasher is trying to stop the war, but he just answers, because. She pushes for more, and he says that he is not charismatic like Dent, and he doesn't like people. They arrive at a bar, and Vasher has Vivenna show the people her hair. Vasher has her say that she doesn't want a war. The people are confused.
I'm sorry, it's so funny. Just tell him. Huh? Tell him. I don't want a war. See? It's so funny. He was not lying about the charisma thing.
No.
Like, what the fuck do you want us to do with that?
He's so bad with people. It's funny. Man. See, this the
Not-
princess. She said no war, so you know, it's like, you know what, like. Yeah.
And the people are confused because Vivenna had been working with the slum lord. And Vivenna says that she never won a war, and she might have been manipulated.
Yeah, may have. Just a little.
No. Vivenna was very humble in this part, I thought.
That's what happens when you live on the streets for
Mm-hmm.
A week.
while. Yeah.
Yeah.
The people tell Vasher that this will not change their minds. Even if they lose a war to Hallandrin, they cannot cave to how Hallandrin treats them. Some people think that, maybe they should just fight. And Vivenna, she now can understand her anger. It was how she felt. But after being on the streets, she knows that the Hallandrin don't even pay attention to them. They don't notice them. And the men in the bar say that some of their youth are even going out and trying to find Kalad's legendary army hidden out there. The men bring up the slaughter in the slums a couple weeks ago. And Vasher says the lifeless that attacked were not given that order from the government. A few broken lifeless were snuck into the group of the normal guards and then started killing people, which made things turn ugly.
That was very interesting
Ooh.
to have officially said.
Conspiracy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he explains that the government will not move unless something pushes it, like with riots happening in the streets. And Vivenna can tell that Vasher is making good points, but is approaching them in the wrong way. She thinks about what she wants. She did not want a war. Her original plan was that she was going to marry the God King and then convince him not to go to war. She was manipulated into giving up that plan by her father and by Denth, and was led into believing that war was inevitable.
Hey, more bad-mouthing her father.
But her initial instinct, though, was to prevent the war. And that is the best way to protect Idris and Siri.
I'm
And
glad
then-
she's still remembering Siri after
Yeah.
all
Right?
this.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just thinking that, but I wasn't going to say it. No, so she does
A
remember
part-
her sister.
Yeah, a part of me is like, would think, oh yeah, that's what I came for, because so
Yeah.
much has happened. But
And
she's
Vivenna-
probably thinking, man, if I went through all this, what kind of horrible shit is Siri going through?
Yeah,
Then we
she's
cut to
completely
her
forgot
in the
about
next
Siri.
chapter. Yeah.
And Vivenna kneels before the men and says that it is not too late. The men say that they don't have power like the slum lords. But Vivenna asks them just to tell some people that there are more options. She has seen the strength of the Idrins in the slums. Idris will not win the war, if they go to war, and they need to do everything they can to prevent it.
I'm glad. I was really like when Denth was talking about, oh yeah, we'll disrupt their supplies and we'll do this and that and stuff. I'm like, that's only going to delay it. They have so much more power than you. So I'm glad to have somebody finally really taking seriously how fucked they are if the two peoples go to war.
Yeah. I mean, they have armies of zombie people.
Yes.
What are you going to do against that?
I'll die.
Yeah, like tell them, you're being ostentatious right now, and then get stabbed in the face. Like,
Shortest war of all time.
right?
And Vivenna says, because of stuff like her having breaths and all that, that she is a disgrace to them and like their people. And she tells them that the Hallandrin don't hate them. They barely notice them. But she does say that there is an Idrian as their queen now.
Another good point that I'm glad is being brought up. That was another reason that I was wondering. Because, what's his name? The king was so sure war was inevitable that he got me thinking it too, you know? So.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you go to the court, it seems like most of the gods don't really care about a war, don't want it, just like they're saying now. So I think this is a really interesting turn of events.
Finally, someone's like, I feel like someone is just drumming up this war and stuff, because it feels everyone's kind of like, they're just hyping it up like it's gonna happen, but
Mm-hmm.
then,
Yeah, why do we want to go to war? What's
Yeah.
even happening? You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
One of the men says that Idris has failed them, and they don't care much for the country now. And Vivenna tells him that if Idris is conquered, then the Idrians in the city will be treated far worse than they are now. And she does tell them that she knows about their plight now. You know, the men say that the king don't care about them, but Vivenna says that she does care about them.
Doesn't even argue. That was the sad part. Doesn't even try to claim the king does care.
No.
I did like how honest this whole conversation was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I do like, because throughout the book, it's just been like all sorts of stuff showing, Vivenna doesn't have any skills and stuff. Now, with her talking here, it's like, no, she does have skills. She does.
You've been gaslit into thinking she doesn't.
Yep, and she says
Again,
that she will...
similar to Siri, it really makes this seem like an awful dad. I'm really sad for him, kind of.
And she says that she will find a way to bring attention to their suffering. Her sister is also married to the God King now, so maybe she can, maybe the God King can be persuaded to improve the slums. The men say that Vivenna is sincere, but it might be too late. Vivenna then asks them, what do they have to lose? And they say that they will see what they can do. After the men leave, Vasher thanks her. Vivenna asks how does she know that Vasher isn't just using her like Death did. He says that she doesn't know, but she will still have to do what he says. All she has to do is say she doesn't want a war. She asks what would happen if she says no to that, and Vasher tosses her a bag of coins and tells her to go home to Idrian.
He does get frustrated really fast. Doesn't answer the question, just answers in the best way, but at the same time, it's just so easily frustrated. Like, what you do? I don't want to play your mind games.
Yeah.
Vivenna says that Denth used her, but she still feels like it's all just a misunderstanding. She feels like he is her friend and she should just go talk to him and find out why he did it. But then she thinks of Parlin and the soldiers and she's just so confused.
I'm glad she doesn't have any exes, because, man, she's one of those, like, oh, maybe we just need to talk and blah, blah, blah.
Well, she's got Stockholm syndrome, right?
Yeah. Like, he wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
He cheated on me 5 times, but I'm sure it was just a misunderstanding.
What did I do wrong?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe I just need to, be better.
I need to make better casseroles or something.
It was my fault. I burned it, so,
Yeah.
This is sad.
It's also funny, too, that she thinks that. And now I know why Parlin was in the story. It's because immediately she's like, no. Parlin's dead. I need to remember that. That proves that they are not, that this is not a misunderstanding. They outright murdered the guy.
Mm-hmm.
For literally
brutally.
No reason. Yeah.
Sliced his face open.
Yeah.
To be fair, that was an accident.
They said that. We didn't see it.
Okay, Joe. How's that going to hold up in a court of law?
It was an accident. His face fell on my knife, okay?
Yeah, it's not like, I accidentally hit him with my car. No, it's I accidentally sliced his face open and killed him.
He wasn't supposed to die. He was just supposed to be in horrible, horrible pain. Maybe they can just get it moved to a manslaughter charge.
Yeah, much better.
Vasher says that she is not the first one Denth has taken in. Even if a man is evil to the core, people will like him and listen to him if he is charismatic. Vasher says that he himself isn't like that, but he will not lie to her. He wants to stop the war. Vivenna thinks that she is an idiot and she hasn't proven to be a good judge of character. She says that she will help Vasher as long as all she has to do is tell others she wants to keep Idris from the war. Vasher says there won't be many people at the meetings because he doesn't have the connections that Denth does. The people will also not be as powerful, and they will mostly be workers instead. And Vivenna just hopes that this time she is on the right side. That's the end of that chapter. Anything else from this whole big Vasher, Vivenna chapter anybody wants to go over?
I'm glad to finally start to get to know Vasher. Not just be a mystery man. I learned some of his personality characteristics and what he's actually supposedly trying to do.
Yeah, I'm glad. I like him. Or the things we've learned so far, I like it. It's exactly what I hoped. So that he's just misunderstood. He's actually really nice.
I don't know about really nice.
Okay, he's actually a good guy. He's not really nice. He's actually kind of
What
prickly.
is it going to be if he wins Vivenna over, and then in 5 chapters it turns out he's literally just another mercenary who's secretly kidnapped her?
Vivenna will go evil and use her breath to take over the world.
Woohoo!
The world.
The world. She's like, you know what? None of you deserve to live. I'm gonna like.
I don't think she's that powerful.
Well,
Love a villain.
she kills Vasher, takes his breath too, and then she'll have his, and then just keep going until she gets to the God King. Then she can take over.
Dear God.
That's a lot of legwork for Vivenna's gonna have to do.
Yeah.
I don't know how many chapters are left, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, you're listening. Yeah.
Vivenna's the God King now.
Yeah.
I just want to throw in that with Vasher, I kind of feel like he's like Kelsier, but with no charisma.
Mm-hmm. I thought he seemed a lot like Kelsier too. But yeah, you're right. Kelsier has an incredible level of charisma.
Alright, so then I guess we will just move on to chapter 44. Alright, so we're back with Siri and Susebron, and they're having their, usually nightly time, and they're eating. Susebron asked her about the food in her homeland. She says that she needs to corrupt him more because he's far too good of a person. And she tells him that he needs to be more reckless and impulsive. Susebron says that he has been thinking about what she has said, so he talked to the priest about why his father died right after having a child. Siri had wished that he had let her handle those negotiations, but she didn't say that because she did not want to pin him down like the priests do. And he asked if she is mad, and she tells him that she's not because she was just encouraging him to try to be more impulsive. And he says that the priest had told him not to worry and it will be all right. He asked them again, and they just gave him another vague answer. So he says that he's beginning to think that Siri might be right about them. And Siri says that she also hasn't had any luck finding out anything new. She's listened to 3 more storytellers, and none of them had any better information than Hoyd had. And Siri talks about how her talk with Trellides sounded like Susebron's breath were like a family tapestry that had been passed on between generations. And Susebron brings up a children's story that he had read where a boy is given a magic sword from his grandfather, and it is a sword that is also the symbol of kingship. Susebron suggests that the monarchy of Hallandren is nothing more than a way to guard the breaths. And Siri brings up that would make him even more of a vessel than she is considered to be.
With what Vasher said, I'm starting to get worried that Siri's just poisoning Susebron against the totally benign and good guy priesthood now. Even though I didn't trust them at all before.
Yeah, they're just like nice uncles and loving, like, guardians.
Well, let me rephrase. I'm not saying that. They did cut his tongue out, I just mean, like, it's going to turn out they're actually the good guys with the real religion who really knows what's going on, and she's poisoning him against them, and then he's going to wind up doing exactly what they're afraid of him doing with all that power, and becoming, like, super corrupted in some way or something. Like, I'm really starting to worry here, just based on what little we're learning here and there.
Could be, because, Siri doesn't really know what she's doing. She's kind of recklessly tearing everything up, so I could see her accidentally messing things up, I'm surprised it's going so well.
Because before he was like, no, they're great. Now he's like, I think you may be right. Like, oh no. Even though I was all on board with that just a few chapters ago.
Mm-hmm.
Siri says that since the king would have to be returned, then it is pretty convenient that the God King's son is always a stillborn. Susebron says, unless the next God King's son actually isn't his son. Siri is able to piece together that this likely means that somewhere there was a baby recently that had died and returned. And so that means the priests need her to urgently get pregnant. That way they can pass off this returned baby as if it was hers.
That
And
is
they-
so fucked up, man. I don't know why I didn't think of that one.
And then the priest would just take Susebron's breaths, give it to the baby, and wind up killing Susebron. But Siri also wonders, what would be the point? Why even bother changing the God King like this anyways if he's just supposed to be a vessel? Why not just keep it one man the entire time?
Yeah, I don't know about this whole plan. I don't know if any of it's actually what it is. It's a little shady. Or it's a little full of holes. I think we're missing a big element. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say Arrested Development?
No, she said we're missing an element.
Oh yeah, we're missing an
Okay.
element.
That makes a lot more sense. I was trying to think that I missed a plot point in Arrested Development.
Yeah, you remember when they were taking stillborn children to replace God Kings with?
Yeah.
Yeah, just
That
like
was
that
a
episode.
hilarious episode.
Yeah, I don't think this is the plan.
Makes so much sense, though.
I don't know. Like, it makes as much sense as anything else you make up.
That is true.
So.
It's hard in a fictional story to come up with theories because literally anything could be true. I don't know what the rules are,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a big thing about, actually reveals a big thing where the returner is supposed to be someone who was returned because of something they did in their past life, but babies don't have a past life like that. So why would they return? And it's just kind of a known fact that random return babies do happen, but
Maybe
so
they
they're
were
lying.
exceptionally cute,
Oh, no. That is not how stillborns are.
I guess stillborns aren't
yeah.
particularly cute. That is true.
Well, what was said before from Larmar was that the people who die, they see something and they realize they come back for a reason to do a certain something.
Yeah, but also
So-
they're usually given a trait of what they died for their name, right? Like bravery or humor or some shit. Not a lot of not born baby can do.
Yeah, so that's a lie. Lie detector, that was a lie.
I don't know that that's a lie, Sheta, but
It's a lie. I think the returned are returned for a reason that they are.
well,
just
what's
keeping
the
from-
young one that returned? We do know one, right? Who was really young, who's alive right
Yep.
now.
Oh yeah.
And what
Little
was the
Peter
reason
Pan
that they
boy.
say he returned or what he is?
I need to find what he was the god of.
Yeah. And he was like an adolescent, right? So not.
Yeah, I believe so.
Well,
But
he-
that's
he
the
was-
closest we got, right?
He was 2 years old when he died.
Oh.
And then he kept aging up normally.
Oh, okay.
See, that's weird too because Susebron just said he doesn't change like that.
Well,
Like,
they
he does-
said that the child ones age up to their normal level, and that's why it's weird that Allmother is so old.
See, none of it is consistent and none of it makes sense. Sounds like stuff people would just make up.
Well, that's what I always believed, because I never believe religions in fictional books until they're proven to be true. But I'm starting to think that maybe these guys have more than I expected before, or would have thought.
Just to figure out what he was the god of, let me.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up too.
This was
It's a
Hope
little sketchy.
Finder.
Hope Finder, that's his name?
Yep.
God of hope?
Finder. Hope. All right, so he was considered the god of hope. He was Hope Finder, the just. So by their thing, he would have been a 2-year-old that died in a just way.
Died in a just way? What the?
Yeah, like how can
what
a
is-
2-year-old die in a just way?
Yeah, Jesus.
See, made
I
up
don't
shit.
know.
Not
He's
Random
the god of
Hope Finder.
innocence and beauty.
Who is?
Hope
Finder?
Finder.
Oh,
Innocent.
okay. Yeah. Can't argue with that too much.
All right. So then back to Susebron and Siri. Susebron becomes a little bit upset because this would mean that his mother that had been reading to him as a kid would not actually have been his mother. Siri puts her arms around Susebron, and he says that his mother was the only person that had ever shown him real kindness, and now he doesn't even know if she was even his mother. Siri tells him that that woman raised him, so that would mean that she is his mother, whether or not it's blood. And Susebron now thinks that her death is suspicious because she was one of the few that could have told him the truth.
I always thought her death was suspicious. Like he didn't know her long enough to really get that much from her.
All right, and then Siri rests her head on Susebron's chest, and he asked her about her family. So she tells him about her father and about how he had been frustrated with her a lot, but he also still loved her.
Loves her so much that he sent her away to a random kingdom in replace of her sister.
Well, he loved them both. He just loved one more.
Yeah.
A lot more.
He's definitely a playing favorites kind of parent.
I don't know how she could forgive him.
I don't know either.
I would not. I'd be like, what the... Like, here I am just, like, living my normal life, not expecting anything. Like, how could he do that to both his kids? Like, I would not forgive him. I would be so pissed. I'd be like, you know what? Just wage the war. Just do it.
Yep.
But aren't they both thinking like, oh, this is why he did it. I see. This was the right choice. Like a few times throughout the book.
Well, Vivenna doesn't, because he told Vivenna he didn't give Siri a reasoning.
Yeah.
But Siri has thought that, like, oh, this is why. He knew that I'd be better for this than poor Vivenna.
Yeah. She's trying to justify it, but no. It was a bad thing for him to do, I think.
What happens when she brings peace to all the land and Vivenna brings peace to all the land down there? And they're both like, Father, we see what you were doing now. It was just a great plan. And he's like, yeah.
Obviously.
I'm a great
just
king.
as I planned.
Yep.
Just as I raised you well.
It's that ending. Like, just as I always knew you would. And they're like, oh, fuck you.
The problem is that Siri could believe that, but Vivenna has read, like, the notes he had sent to, like, his spy master, where it's like, yeah.
And then she'll see, I see, you left those notes out because you knew I'd read them, Father.
Father of the Year award.
What's his name did nothing wrong.
Oh man, we should do rankings for that. Ranking the fathers in the Cosmere we've read.
Yeah.
So far, I am starting to wonder if Brandon Sanderson has some father issues based on the few we've seen.
That's fair.
We'll see how they go later on.
Yeah, because Tree, when we finished Hero of Ages on our wrap-up episode, we did some rankings for, like, ranking, like, all the villains in order, ranking the books, and then ranking, like, your favorite ships in order. So I might do another one. Yeah, let's include, like, fathers and kings or stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's not too many of those yet, right? Right now we just have two.
2 kings?
2 kings, and only one father.
And 2 fathers at the
really
same
valid.
time.
Well, we would have done all the Cosmere kings, not just the one book.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So we would have done, like, Straff. Was Straff? She's not a king, but a dad.
Straff was a king.
Straff.
He called himself king.
Dad of the year.
So anyone saying they're king can be considered a king?
In our ranking, yes.
What is this? Song of Ice and Fire?
Well, once you get into Stormlight, there's a few more to add to that list.
What about, like, emperors, like the Yorn or whatever he's called?
Wern Wolfden the Fourth.
Not a Gorn. That's a Star Trek alien.
Yeah, I was gonna say Gorn.
Well, I think you were thinking like Yorn, like Wraithen, but that's pretty much like a cardinal in a church.
Is that a made-up word, or is that an actual position?
No, it's Elantris. There's a lot of made-up words in Elantris.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is that a made-up position? Okay,
yes. Yeah. That may be one of the hardest things for new readers when they read Elantris is how many, like, just made-up fantasy words there are in that book.
I have to take notes.
Is there not a glossary in the back?
There is, but I'm not reading. I don't have a physical copy, and I don't really want to snoop around in case I get spoilers. So.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
That one didn't really have a glossary. It had a little bit of stuff, like in Ars Arcanum, that explains some stuff about the magic. And then it had, its glossary was just going through all the different aeons. All the different shapes.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. See, I do everything Audible, so I don't know anything ever. Yeah, I'm like, I hear a word, and I'm like, I'm sure they'll explain that at some point.
I have the book with terms, and I still think that way. My philosophy is if it's not in the story and I don't know what the hell they're talking about, then that's how it's supposed to be.
Yep, that's fair. They'll either explain it later or
Wasn't
I will
important
just
enough
it'll
to
go
know.
right over my head.
Yeah.
I'm like drawing charts, trying to figure out like the power system and stuff like that.
That's smart.
Yeah,
It just
very
looks like a
helpful.
crazy person at the end.
Yeah, but that having stuff not in the story, that's one thing that did annoy me with Wheel of Time. There's one character who gets killed, and then it's like a big mystery for books on books. You don't know who killed him. He eventually gets revealed in the glossary of one of the books.
That's funny.
Wow.
So you got to be a real nerd to read those, huh?
Yeah.
That's a little Easter egg for you.
And those glossaries, they're not short ones. They're really long, and then it would have been under one character being like, oh yeah, this character killed that other character.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering if it was actually a glossary in one of the books or if it was in like the Wheel of Time like compendium book or whatever.
I know it was in one of the books. I think it might have been the last one, or either Memory of Light or Towers of Midnight. One of those two.
Oh, okay. It would make sense if it was in Memory of Light, 'cause that's the last one, so they just give all the secrets away, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Wheel of Time, that's a fun one with lots of weird, crazy words.
And S-named characters.
And S names, yes. Like every third character starts with an S.
Oh gosh.
Good. That's more realistic. Whenever they have the rule of not naming characters the same letter, I was like, yeah, well, in the real world, everyone's got like the same 3 names recycled over and over again. So I always think that's funny to do in a book.
Yeah.
I know that's specifically what George R. Martin did with Song of Ice and Fire, because his thing was, in actual stuff, people would name people after other people. So that's why you have multiple people with like the name John, multiple people like different versions of Rob, different versions of Brandon.
That's
accurate.
All right.
Difficult in a book setting, but yeah, makes sense.
All right. So we'll go back on to Susebron and Siri. So Siri continues explaining her family. Siri explains her brother, Ridger, was a little like Susebron, kind-hearted and always trying to do what is right. She didn't know Fafin that well, because Fafin had joined the monastery when Siri was still young. She was glad Fafin did, though, because Siri would have been miserable as a monk. And then she tells him about Vivenna, who was the one who had spent her entire life preparing to move to Hallandren and marry Susebron. He says that must mean that Vivenna hates him, but Siri says no, and that Vivenna actually looked forward to it. She doesn't even think that Vivenna can feel hatred. Vivenna was always calm, careful, and perfect. Vivenna was watching over Siri, but she made too many efforts to cover for Siri, so it did annoy her as well.
I want these two to meet back up so much. Their ideas of each other for what they've gone through are so different than what they'd expect.
Yeah, just to see Vivenna in pants would be such a big deal for her.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, what are you wearing? Like, completely changed.
And then Susebron says that he was wrong. His mother wasn't the only one that had shown him kindness. And he says that Siri didn't have to show him kindness. She could have hated him, but instead she befriended him and loved him. And then Susebron leans down and kisses her.
Like, stop, you guys. What are you doing?
Ew. How does he know to kiss her?
Right, I was gonna say, is that just instinctual? Did he see it in a book?
You know, they probably did have... Yeah, they probably did have kissing in the books, like at the end of a heroic adventure story, or like a Snow White with the prince, like true love's kiss kind of thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I wonder. Also,
I mean, there's an instinctual element to it. We kind of just know, too. It's like a human thing.
That's what I wonder. Like, are people drawn to do that weird act? I don't know.
Smushing your faces together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this incredibly specific thing we do.
Yep.
I mean, animals have their things. It makes sense that we'd have ours.
True.
And Siri knows that she should stop this. She should not give the priest what they were waiting for, but instead Siri kisses him back.
No, you fool.
But he's really hot, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Well, I mean, he at least glows in the dark. That's pretty cool.
After they finish kissing, Siri pulls him down and kisses him again.
No, stop. Stop.
Get
She
it,
stopped
girl.
caring.
No further. Get it, girl? No. Oh, God.
She stopped caring. Susebron didn't know what to do, but she did. Siri pulls off her shift as she thinks that she is being hasty. She needs to get better at controlling her impulses, but she'll do it some other time.
Yeah,
It's
not
gonna
tonight.
be
She
too
doesn't.
late. Stop.
One
No,
time's all it
Siri,
takes, girl.
You fool. Especially with a god. He's probably more virile than a normal person.
Yeah, one time. What was I gonna say? I feel like supernatural elements were working on this. I don't know. Maybe it's just the supernatural hotness of the God King.
I think
But-
it's just them talking about family and life and all these personal things. And then they just start to be like,
But-
you know.
But they know, but she knows that he could be killed.
Yes,
Well-
because no one's ever made a foolish decision based on that biological impulse before.
Also, they're always in a romantic setting. They're always sitting in a bedroom. She's wearing nothing but a shift. They're eating a romantic dinner.
Yeah, it's a picnic.
There's
by
a fire. There's
Yeah.
a fireplace
Fireplace.
there.
That's all you need.
Those,
Fireplace.
yeah, those dinners were the bad. Those were the bad element to add in.
Yeah,
should
they got
not
all
have done that.
comfy. Okay. The mood was just too right. That's the
Mm.
supernatural element.
Have Elton John singing over him.
Dang.
She's
Maybe those
sitting
cakes
there.
had some kind of aphrodisiac in them.
Mhm.
See, if the
I mean-
priests were smart, they would have done that. But I don't think they know how babies are made. So,
The priest.
yeah, they seem somewhat ignorant. Like I said, when
Well,
he's like, "Wait, you found out he has no tongue?" Duh, I did.
But I just think you take a girl, she goes into a room with a guy she thinks she's hot, and she's always pretty much in her underwear. Yeah, it's gonna lead to stuff.
Makes sense.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, it's gonna get them both killed.
Yeah. Oh, also, I was gonna say she is a teenager. Like, so
Well,
it's that time.
Teenager's a bit strong of a way to say it. It's not like she's just going
just
through
mean-
puberty right now.
It is a thing. So that
Yep,
could have
those
something to do
teenage
with it.
hormones.
Yeah, exactly. They're always fluctuating and be unpredictable.
How old was Sari again?
17.
See?
17? Yeah, no,
Yep,
come
that's
on. She's
prime raging hormone year.
that is not.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Maybe she's a late bloomer. You know?
I will continue this no longer.
I just mean she's never experienced that. Also, so the draw of it might have been too powerful for her.
Yeah.
Well, she managed to hold off for a couple months.
Yeah.
So,
we'll see if
Sheta-
she regrets it or not.
Did the end of this chapter make you happy?
Yes, it did. This is how I expected, what I wanted for it to happen, or how I wanted it to happen. With Siri just kind of giving in and showing him how it's done.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I couldn't believe she. Yeah, that's pretty bold. Because he's like huge, like he's a big guy too. So that's pretty
Yes.
pretty bold of her. Pretty brave.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess
No. Now my brain
I-
just
I-
went to thinking about like the makeout
Yeah.
session, but like without a tongue. Like that's
Oh, God,
probably
that-
That's what I always thought too.
yeah.
How would it be to kid? Yeah.
Save it for your extended universe fan fiction. This is
Listen,
a fairly
We'll chat. We'll talk about this. in
Okay.
depth.
Right.
and some cursed things were spoke of that day.
Yes.
so. If we go back to our little betting pool we had a couple episodes ago,
Did
anybody
we?
who bet on? Yeah, I asked you who do you think was gonna sleep together first, and Siri Susebron won in the end.
Wait,
Woo.
who was the alternative?
The alternatives I threw out there were Lightsong Blushweaver, and Vivenna Denth.
No, god damn it. You wanted somebody
Well-
to take that bet so bad, didn't you?
Yes, I was really hoping somebody was going to be like, you know what? I'm kind of shipping Vivenna Denth, just so be like, God damn it, he betrayed her. There might have been another one in there.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember. It is funny to me, though, that the second he makes a move on her, she cannot resist. It's over.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was probably
makes
her
sense.
first kiss, right? Yeah. Who else would she have kissed?
I do not know.
Yep.
I don't remember.
No, some boring guy in her country.
But if it was a kiss, it would have probably been more innocent than talking
this.
about life and family. Then he leans in and passionately kisses her out of fucking nowhere.
Anything else from this chapter anybody wants to go over?
I do wonder if what the priest listening at the door here tonight is going to make them rethink what they've been thinking they were listening to every other night.
Oh, yeah. What's it actually going to sound like?
Mm-hmm.
Well, by this point, they would have stopped listening.
Do they? No, I thought they were still listening, and that's how they knew she wasn't doing it anymore. Oh, at a certain time of night, right?
Well, they listen until after she does her performance, because then remember she would listen to the wall, hear them all get up and leave and stuff.
Yeah,
and that's when she knew that she'd be free to just talk with Susebron.
And what a bunch of fucking weirdos!
But there's still the serving people sitting right outside the door, who were ready to get food. They'd be like, "Oh, I guess round 2."
I feel like they're like not allowed to talk about anything on penalty of death, though.
Yeah, but they'll know.
All right.
Yeah, I don't doubt that there may be some spies out there still.
No, they would have put it together by now if there were, like, priesthood spies at least. Like I said, I think they have a weird actual half respect for their own traditions, or their own philosophies on the divinity of their gods, even if it's not quite how they're selling it to us.
All right, and then we have one more chapter for this week, which
my
is
favorite chapter.
The shortest chapter of the book. So I'm just going to read the entire chapter.
Mhm.
That night, Lightsong dreamed of Teteller burning, of the God King dead, and of soldiers in the streets, of lifeless killing people in colorful clothing, and of a black sword. And that's the chapter!
Woo!
That
So
doesn't bode well.
Especially something that happens right after Siri and Susebron hook up.
That's what I mean. That's a bad sign. Like, it gives them nightmares.
And that's also where all our chapters end for this week.
Huh.
Nice.
But
Wraithen chapter seems super long.
Oh, all right. So, anything else anybody wants to talk about with this super short chapter?
I knew that sword was more important and probably has historic value.
I thought there was dream about the sword before. Am I remembering wrong?
There is. Yep, there was.
Yeah.
He saw
was dreaming
he
about
saw
it,
he saw the sword in a painting.
Oh, that was it.
Oh, I was actually really interested to hear if you guys had any theories about the paintings specifically.
Mine have always been, even now when it seems like it's not true, that the paintings mean nothing, and it's just these gods saw something on the other side that the priests are trying to subconsciously get them to reveal. That's always been my theory. However, when he was saying that he saw things in the paintings that other people couldn't see, it seemed like it might have been a color thing, so I'm not sure anymore.
Like a color shift difference?
Be like a Rorschach painting, but with color theory into it, where mixed into the colors is a colors only Return can see, and then it will reveal itself as some kind of prophecy.
Well, isn't pretty much anything going to have colors only a Returned can see?
Yeah, but
right?
these... Yeah. But I feel like it's almost like tea leaves or something like that, some kind of supernatural element where...
Yeah, I've never thought there was
yeah.
a supernatural element to it, because like I said, I never believe in that.
Those things just pull in your subconscious, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Oh, you mean like in real life?
Yeah. Like, to pull what memories or...
like a tarot deck or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the whole... I always thought it was like an ink blot test too, like, and then whatever they see is to it more as prophecy.
Because
Yeah.
they definitely have some kind of knowledge, I think, from the other side from when they died, or maybe they do just have the ability to see the future in some way. I couldn't say at this point.
And my theory is that it's memories. Remember, memories
Is this
because
time
they're
travel again?
time travel and reincarnation is what I would say.
Okay, so you think the past and Justin thinks the future.
Yeah,
Interesting.
something like that.
Okay.
Well, I never thought the future until recently. Now that it's this when her and Susebron hook up and then he immediately has the dream, that kind of changes what I think about this whole thing. I always thought the priests were trying to get something we don't know about from the other side, and all this prophecy stuff was total bullshit, But when he immediately has that dream that night, that makes me really think that
It's not it's during, I feel like he had that
Yeah.
dream.
No, I mean as soon as she becomes impregnated, basically, is what I suspect. Then they're like,
That's so
okay, the new God King is born. Whatever the trigger everyone's waiting on to go to war is about to happen.
It's too
Or
sick.
it could just be because they've fully fallen in love and they're now going to run away, and that's going to cause war. Could be that too. Could be a lot of reasons. But I do think it's directly related to his dream. Otherwise, the chapter wouldn't be so short if it wasn't important.
And ominous. Yeah.
Yeah, and ominous.
Yeah, the short chapter was really freaky to me. I was like, this is
Oh,
so
yeah, because you didn't
important.
see it coming, right?
Yeah, no.
Because you're listening.
Uh-huh.
That's funny. I just turned the page and I was like, oh, this is going to be an easy chapter.
And I think
But yeah,
another
listening
thing
to it is funny. Yeah.
I think when you're talking about like Lightsong and stuff, we did have like one of his most recent dreams. We were told the stuff that he thought of, like was the glowing red panther, the tempest, a young woman's face being absorbed by darkness, and then new parts of it were he saw Blushweaver's face red and flushed, Larimar sleeping, and the God King crying.
All right. So would the young woman's face being absorbed by darkness, would that be Vivenna becoming a drab?
Oh,
And then
yeah.
the red panther? I don't know. What would that be?
That's from the past.
You can't just say that. Like it's just a fact.
It is. It's in the past when he wrestled a panther and was killed bravely.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you had that theory.
That's my theory.
He died fighting a panther. It's a literal thing. It's not a metaphor at all.
Well, there's panthers on the island or the area.
I'm not arguing the merit of that being how he died.
Are
And
we
I
sure
think, like,
there's panthers?
Yeah.
I think
I don't
another
even
set of
remember
dreams.
that. Where did that come from, Sheta?
Well, it's a jungle, so I linked it. But it's a
I
jungle
just
type.
believed you when you said that, but there's no true evidence of it.
No,
It's the confidence. I like the confidence.
Yeah, I totally believed you. You're like, we do know there are panthers on the island.
It's a
I'm like, well, that does lend some credence to your theory.
I believe Hoyd says it when he's telling the story, and that when they first came to this land, there were panthers.
But you believe that. You don't know for sure.
I mean, I have it written down, but that's it.
And I think there was another one of Lightsong's dreams where he said that he was like dreaming of like bars or something like that.
Bars?
Like drinking bars or like cage bars?
Like steel bars. Not
Okay.
He's not going to a pub.
I thought it was like a pub. Yeah, I thought that's what it was. It's like that
Never
could
know with
represent when
Lightsong,
Vivenna and Denth went to those pubs.
Yeah. Lightsong likes a good bar, in my opinion.
Yep, just that simple. He's just thirsty.
With him, he gets the bar brought to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
But because of his past, yeah, when he loved bars.
I'm not going for this anymore.
And I have a whole story written about him. If it doesn't turn out that way, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
Let me save you some time. It will not, because it's just a story you wrote in your head.
I want some parts to be correct. I know I
He was
can't
a
get it all.
brave adventurer who was killed by a panther. Very
Part of
important.
the original crew that came to the island.
Oh, don't even get on that one. If that turns out to be true, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
You're gonna what? You should give me
Laugh.
$100.
She believes that all the returned are the reincarnations of the original people who came to the island. That was her theory, based on what I consider very little.
They arrived on a ship, and then all the people on the crew were like raised to be really important.
Mhm.
See, Tree
I
doesn't
like
think
it.
it's true. Yeah,
I
see?
like it.
Yeah, you need more than that to call it a theory, though. Sheta.
There's
It's
enough.
true because it's more than a lot of theories. It's true because it could be true. Oh
Exactly.
my god,
It could be true. That's the whole heart of a theory. It could be true.
that's
You know?
about the extent of that one.
I'm fine with it as long as you stay out of numerology. When I listen to theories that start adding numerology in, that's where I'm just like, this is stupid.
I gotta write a book that does have heavy numerology just for those people who love those theories so much,
Oh,
and they're
man.
always such bullshit.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
you know what? Maybe Brandon Sanderson is going to listen to this podcast one day, and he'll say, I need to write a book all about numerology now.
Yep, new numbers are my new magic system, and every
Yes,
number in the book is
exactly.
important.
Oh
You
my
never
Actually,
know with
god.
that's a
him.
good idea. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
That's
There's a way to write it where it works, but where
Yeah, but it's
planned
so
out the
rare
entire
that it
time.
happens. It's same
Yeah.
with real life conspiracy theories when they're like, "Oh my god, if you minus this much from the day JFK was killed, you can see the CIA did it all along." And
Oh man, the DB Cooper Netflix documentary from like a year ago or something had one guy starting to go into numerology and stuff, and it's like, all right, nope, you've lost me.
Yep, Stanley Kubrick was killed because it was the year this many years from 2001, all this stuff like that.
I feel like Stanley Kubrick died because he was getting old.
Yeah, he was old, he was an alcoholic, and he was out of shape. It wasn't that complicated.
the math adds up.
And he did also reveal all the truth of secret societies, so that does help too.
I don't think Eyes Wide Shut revealed all the truths of secret
Joe,
societies.
don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. I'll talk for an hour on that.
What?
And it may get us demonetized or kicked
Oh,
off
no.
the podcast. So don't even get into that.
All right. Abort.
Abort, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see if I have any other. Let's see if I have any questions I can ask you for your thoughts. What do we? All right. So, you've already kind of put it out there. So I'll just ask. Do you think that are Siri and Susebron going to get pregnant?
Yeah, of course. That's what happens when you go all the way.
It would be the most dramatic thing to happen, that's for sure. I don't know if I do think they are or not. I don't know. It seems like at first I thought maybe he can't get pregnant and just like hooking up like that, they were gonna fake a baby, kind of like she's thinking. But when they're like, "Are you pregnant yet?" a few times, that kind of made me stop thinking that could be the case.
I just don't know why they would hook up if they weren't going to get pregnant, story-wise.
Well, I think it's either that or it's to show that they're like actually in love and they're going to do their plan to run away, which is going to fuck things up for everybody and is going to lead to the war. Because if the Idrian princess and their god king do their plan to run away, it's not going to go well for anyone, I feel like all their conspiracies would just be proven to be true, like about her trying to take over and stuff. If he just disappears with her. That's kind of my theory more than...
Like they'll even get out of the castle.
I don't know.
He is more guarded than anything else in that entire
they were
universe.
saying that. They're factoring that in. Now she's surrounded by all the... what are they
Hun
called?
Paul.
The other... Yeah. They've got the pieces in play to do their mission. However, what it could be is she gets pregnant and then they elope, and it's even worse because now she has the baby inside her too that they want or that they need for their plans.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then, so will Lightsong use those commands and take control of Allmother's lifeless?
After Allmother dies and Blushweaver launches her plan to invade the country, yes, I think he'll have to.
Whoa. Allmother dies?
That's my expectation.
Just because she's old?
No, not because she's old. It's because that would be the thing that makes Lightsong have to step up and take charge of things when he really doesn't want to.
Yeah, that would make the most sense.
Mm-hmm. And I think Blushweaver will be the one to kill her too.
Kill her? I thought she would just give away her gift to some person.
Well, if she has the command, you know, and Blushweaver wants to do some big play to do something, and Lightsong implies to her that she has both the commands and she won't give them up, then the next best thing to getting them would be to kill the person who has the command. That's what I think. Because I just don't trust her. I just don't trust her at all.
Wouldn't that be like a act of war?
Yes, it would be. Which is what I think is going to happen.
Hey, everything's legal if you don't get caught.
Yep.
Jeez,
What is
crazy.
legal and illegal when you're a god? You know, it's a tough question.
Oh man, what if one of the gods came back, returned, and then they became a serial killer?
Yep.
Hmm.
Like, see, that would go to, is this religion real or is it total BS? Because if it's real, that would probably never happen. But if it's BS, I would be really freaked out about that.
Yeah.
Yep, one of the gods, every time they take a breath from a child, they then kill the child afterwards.
What are the rules on that? I truly do wonder. You know, the fact that the gods have so much power and they're not living these nightmarishly psychotic, hedonistic lifestyles may lend evidence that this whole system might be more true than I've been thinking.
Also, I think the priests probably help temper all that, because you don't want the gods start killing everybody. And like how Allmother pointed out, if they start doing that, then they will lose their access to the breaths.
Yeah, but there are people who would do that anyways because they're just crazy. Plus, you don't need access to the breaths if you enslave everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the people would have to do is wait 1 week. Just hold out 1 week without giving them a breath, and all the gods
That's
die.
true. Do a siege.
You're going to be able to do that with everyone there is under penalty of torture and death? No way. They could totally get them.
1 week of torture. That's it.
Somebody's going to... No. You're torturing the previous guy for 2 weeks and the next guy for 3 weeks. You're planning well ahead on this. You've got a whole line of tortured people, and all you say is whoever gives up their breath, the torture on you or your family stops. And then you're like, oh yes, I'd rather be a drab than be tortured like this. Totally could work. I could make this system work if I was writing a dystopian nightmare version of this book.
As if it's not what's happening in this book right now, Justin.
Well, because it's mostly from kids, I don't think it is. If
Yeah,
it was
but-
just from like the poor off the streets, then you could say a version of that.
I don't think they're being tortured. They're being tortured with poverty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not to the extent that I'm talking about. See,
Maybe it
there's a
was like
subtle
that
way
at
to
the
do this.
beginning.
I'm talking about the way a psychopath would do it.
Yeah. Maybe Peacegiver was like that. The original.
Maybe.
And this is just the nicer way that they ended up doing it.
Based on?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Good to know,
Based
because
on-
I don't know when you have evidence and when you're just talking out of your ass.
Based on vibes.
Yeah, based on vibes. You seem like the kind of guy who'd do that. That's quite a drastic thing to say about somebody.
He just is. Everyone reveres and respects him so much.
So he must have been evil.
He could have been. Only two things command that kind of loyalty.
This isn't modern writing where whatever the most like unexpected subversive thing to happen would be is what's going to happen.
I just think it'd be ironic. Peace giver. Like, I'll show you peace.
Mm-hmm.
Again.
Maybe it was Peacegiver, like Peice, and he cut people into pieces.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
There's a piece for you.
Jesus.
Hey,
That
I'm just
escalated.
trying to help.
Yeah.
Other question I'll have is, will Vivenna and Vasher's plan to try to talk to the workers and stuff help stop Dent's plan?
I feel like Dent's plan is full of unreliable people anyway. Like, they already don't work together, so I could see it falling apart pretty quickly when the good people are like, nah, we're not gonna do that. Because Dent is only talking to, like, slumlords and criminals and people who
Yes,
are...
and as we all know, criminals and people with criminal amounts of power never are able to influence things and be stronger than just regular folks working at the docks, right, Sheta?
You need a united front. They don't even unite with each other because they're all selfish. They're like, what's in it for me? Like, every one of them. So
Money and power. That's what would be in it for 'em.
maybe, or the collapse of their small little empire that they've made. Not all of them were sold on the war. So
Yeah.
I think it will disrupt it, and then Dent will feel so stupid.
All right. And any other theories or predictions either of you two want to throw out there?
I said this kind of at the beginning, where I thought Vasher was returned, but I don't
I
know.
don't
That was
remember you saying that.
well, it was the first chapter, and he was sneaking around, and we had just learned about returned, and
Oh, before we really knew what they were.
yeah. So I was like, is there such a thing as a returned person living in the wild, able to get the breaths to survive, but not living in the system? You know, like I wonder, or is it only people who? Because I thought there was going to be a whole rebellion of returned people who were not part of the system, didn't live at the castle, and they just like were stealthily building up their own army. Like that could be Kalad's phantoms over there. That's it. Those are just my thoughts, ramblings.
I'm sorry, I cut out. I missed all of that shit.
What? You're
Yeah,
the
it
only
sounded
other
really.
person. Because Joe and Tree probably don't want to say that's wrong. Because
Interesting.
yeah, just saying that there's return. If there could be return people out in the wild that don't live at the main temple place.
You
Justin?
believe they're gonna find it,
But-
like he was saying that some of the poor people are trying to do, right?
Yeah, like the Kalad's phantoms that live in the woods, in the jungles. That would be the returned that are living in the wild. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
I just think
That'd
that's a
be
big
their-
element.
What is it when they get all those ghosts in Lord of the Rings to come
Yeah,
help?
that's
Be
exactly
like
right.
that kind of moment.
Like a wild card ace up the sleeve kind of moment, and they come out of the jungle all wild.
Justin, did you have any theories or anything?
Yeah, I think that Siri's going to get pregnant or be worried she is. Her and Susebron are going to do their plan to leave with Bluefingers. Bluefingers is either going to turn out to be evil and betray them in some way because he's some third element that we don't know about that wants to lead to war, or everything will just go fine. But either way, the priesthood's going to freak out that their god king's gone. The returned are going to freak out. Blushweaver's going to make her move because she's expecting stuff to happen. And they're going to launch war on Idris because they believe that this was their plan all along, to come in and kidnap or kill their king and disrupt the whole order. And the two nations are going to go to war, and then Vasher has to do something with that sword in the middle of it. What would it be? We'll learn some element of the sword and how it ties into the ancient stuff from that story with some detail I missed. And
You can't say fill in the blank. Like,
well, though I'm less sure about this. I'm pretty sure up to what I said. But where it comes to the sword, I don't know. I think there's going to be a detail we don't know yet. But if we were paying a lot of attention, would have been apparent. And it's whether or not Bluefingers and their nation is secretly planning a war or not. That's the part that I'm really wondering.
yeah, that's been my theory.
Yeah,
The Pond Call have been secretly waiting for their turn.
it very well could be. And it could be that she's like, you shouldn't have a baby because that's what we want to have happen because we want to take over because we're the evil ones, you know. And the baby thing is actually totally benign and fine. And then Susebron's going to have to give up his power to save everybody. I think we all know that probably is going to happen in some capacity.
I don't want him to.
I
But
just
how
can't
are you
imagine the
supposed to
guy
do
who
that?
eats 2 children a week gets off without any kind of sacrifice.
He doesn't
you
eat
know,
them.
he's not eating children.
Eats the children. Oh.
I'll tell you, when in 1,000 years, when people are just telling stories about this, you know, and it's gone into fable, it's going to be the king and the monster gods who ate children. It's going to be simplified to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's already kind of like that in Idris. They
Mhm,
they call them like monsters and stuff.
mhm.
Yeah.
Tree, did you have any questions you want to ask either of them?
I do, but I can't because it will probably be leading. So I'm just gonna listen at
Right.
this point.
You can text it to Joe, maybe.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Like, I want to deep dive into both of your theories a little bit more, but I'm afraid to, you know?
Uh,
I'm like, tell me
It's
more
like-
about why you think that.
Yeah.
What about this? I'm like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I wish I could, but I can't.
How does this one specific element that you haven't paid attention to factor into your case?
Exactly. Yeah, it's too dangerous. It's a slippery slope.
Aw.
What do you think about about Lightsong in this one very small plot point from this one chapter?
Exactly.
Whoa. Okay.
All right.
All right.
And I'm going to do one last part. We typically do it towards the end of each book because we only have a couple episodes left. Will be the Will They Live or Die segment.
Oh,
Ooh.
God.
All right, so I'll go down the main characters, and you have to tell me, will they still be alive or will they die at the end of the book? All right, I have these nice and in looks like alphabetical order. All right, so Blue Fingers.
That depends if he's evil or good.
He's
If he's
evil,
he's dead.
and he's dead. That's my guess.
I think he's going to be fine. And I don't think he's evil.
Mm.
All right, Blushweaver.
Dead.
That was quick.
Denth.
Well, Blushweaver has to die. She's evil. She's the villain. And she's not going to give up her power for good either. She's going to somehow be killed in a messed up... Or like, her evil thing she's doing will wind up eating her power or something stupid like that.
Yeah. She'll be forced to give up her power to save, like, maybe one of our heroes or something.
Oh, that's the exact opposite of what I said.
Really? Ooh,
Like,
Yeah,
she's
I
gonna
think
get-
she's gonna... I don't think she's gonna get a redemption, even though she hasn't
Oh, no, it's not
done
redemption.
anything explicitly evil.
It's not redemption. It's more like, you don't deserve this power. Susebron's gonna give it to Siri, and then she'll be all hot.
What the... What?
She'll be the new Blushweaver.
What the hell?
Yeah. That's
Oh, I didn't even think. That seems obvious. One of our characters dying and getting the powers of a return. That never crossed my mind. But that
Oh,
seems like a pretty obvious thing to do.
I always thought that either Vivenna or Siri would
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, even Vasher maybe for being brave.
All right, back to more characters. Denth.
He's gonna live.
Really, I think he will
Yep.
be dead and killed by Vasher, like I said last time or earlier.
Right? But if he dies, his last words has to be something like, well, that's the worst thing about being a mercenary. You get stabbed in the back by your own friends. Because somebody will be paid off that he thought he was working or aligned with. What's
God.
the girl? Jules. Yeah, Jules or somebody.
Next, Jules.
Jules is going to get the gift of life again, and then she'll be nice. She's gonna live. She's gonna live and not be a drab anymore.
I think she's just gonna die. She hasn't been fleshed out enough for her to be like get a whole arc like that.
Yeah, but Vivenna felt sorry for her, so maybe
Vivenna felt a lot of things for those people.
Yeah, and Jules didn't outright did anything wrong. Only have
What
a
in
crush
God's
on
name are you talking about?
her. What? I mean,
When
yeah,
you're
no,
working with a guy who accidentally cuts a guy's face open, you're the bad guy. That's just how
she's
it
a
works.
drab. She can't help it. She's a
But
drab.
so was Vivenna, and she had strength to not even go against her own faith, you know?
Well, not everyone can be a princess. Yeah, I think she felt sorry for Jules for living that life. And I don't know. I think she'll be okay.
Justin, did you say whether she'd live or die?
Well, she's gonna die. Die in the war. And then Vivenna will take power of her lifeless guy.
Ooh, actually, I had a really good scene in my head where Claude tries to save Jules, and he gets grievously injured, but she's still dying, and then they both die together.
Aww.
And then she admits her love for Claude,
What the fuck?
and then he has a light in his eyes for her that he can't express.
It's all
A
a
spark.
lifeless. That's how you cure a lifeless. True love.
Oh my god, that's so sweet.
Yay! I like it.
All right. Well, next character, Lightsong.
Dead.
Hmm.
Sacrifice himself
Yeah,
heroically.
sacrificial death. Yep.
Hmm. He's gonna do what he returned to do and then die happy or contented.
Like finally understood. Ah, this is
Mhm.
why.
Hmm.
That's fine. And then he dies.
Yeah. I
All
don't.
right.
I have no doubt about that. Unless Susebron does a magic spell to return, like life to all the returned or something, if they go that route. But I doubt it, and I kind of hope they do not.
I feel like it would be the opposite, where Susebron's like, "To me, my return,
Yep,
return."
all the
me."
returned were there to give him his power back.
That's why they're
Yep.
called return, because they just
It
hold
could
return
be.
power. Yeah.
It could be.
Then he explodes.
Wait, who exploded?
Susebron does.
What? I thought he was taking all their power, like it's a bad reason, like he went power hungry. I didn't know he was like taking in the love of everyone to save the people or some kind of.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't go evil. He would just be like, "Now's
Oh,
the time,
I think he might.
my loyal servants," and then they all do it, and then he restarts the world or something with his power.
Oh, I forgot that with my theory. I think because Susebron learns love, he's going to learn selfishness, and he's going to go evil. I forgot to say that part. I do kind
Ooh.
of think that.
That's good, but it's not like he's
like
a
he's going to be
freaking
like,
Jedi
I want
or
to
something.
live. Yeah,
I
but
see.
I think there's a reason that they're like, no one man should have all that power, basically.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay.
Yeah, I should write that one down.
Yeah, make it into a song.
Yeah.
All right. Next character, Larimar.
That's a good question.
I think he'll live, unless I feel like
I
he'll
think
be
he'll
evil
die
too.
What? Larimar? He's the nicest guy.
That means he's the most evil one. Like, I'm saying it. He's like, oh
Larimar
yeah,
is one of the few guys I trust. Like,
yeah, exactly, Justin, exactly.
I've seen no foreshadowing to make me believe this. I refuse. I have faith in Larimar.
How do you be friends with Lightsong and know him and not tell him anything about himself?
Because that's your faith.
Until you like let something slip, kind of, to push him in a certain direction, you know?
All right.
Sheta, it's like what the prophet George Michael would say. You've got to have faith.
No.
It sounds like that death reveal really fucked you up, Sheta.
Yes. Especially don't trust the nice ones. That's the theme of the book. Because Vasher's not nice, but you should trust him. Everyone who's nice, you should not trust. Especially if they
like who else?
Blush Weaver, she acts nice, like, oh, I'll sleep with you, blah blah blah. But no, she's not a good person.
All right, and who else? Also, we have no evidence of that. That's just a theory we have.
So you're saying that we should not trust Siri?
She's not nice.
Siri's super nice.
She's a little brash and like judgy and selfish, you know, like and she's not really thinking through what she's doing a little. She's kind of being rash about it.
All right. You're saying characteristics. So which of these equals not nice?
I meant of not our main characters, because we know our main characters' motives at least.
All right. Next character, Siri.
Oh no, I'm scared for her. I feel like there's a chance of her getting killed or dying, especially after she gets pregnant. I feel like she's gonna get the danger of that.
So will she die before or after she gives birth?
I don't want her to die, so I'm gonna say she'll survive.
Right.
I'm gonna manifest that.
You say she'll survive.
Yep.
All right, Justin, your pick for Siri?
Siri's gonna live. I don't think she's gonna die.
Okay,
it's
good.
Pretty harsh to kill a protagonist like that in just like one book like this.
All right, and Susebron.
Dead.
No, again, I don't want him to die. I'll manifest him living forever, and
Manifest.
Yeah, I don't want some BS like he'll live through his son kind of thing, because I don't want that.
How is he supposed to live when he needs to consume the souls of 2 children a week to stay alive?
It's not souls, it's magic.
He's lived for 50 years. He'll live for the lifetime of his kid at least.
Based on what? He's a returned. He should just die if he doesn't eat.
Well, he'll choose to go at some point. Once maybe Siri dies, he'll probably
Okay,
die.
so what I'm saying is, morally, how can you want a character to live? Like in the book's morality, it'd be like, and he lived on, if he has to consume the souls of innocent children to continue living.
For
This
some
is like
reason,
a freaking lich monster king, and you're like, yeah, he'll live a happy life at the expense of his whole kingdom.
he will use his breath to become a real boy, and then
Okay,
live a
there
normal
you
life.
go, there you go.
Yeah.
See,
I love
wouldn't
that.
that be interesting if all that breath he has, he could give it all up to end this whole thing, you know?
Yes.
And that's why they don't want him to, because they want it to keep going forever, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I like that. Like, let's just stop this whole religion, this whole breath thing. Let's just stop it. Everyone gets their breath back, and it's fine.
And they all live happily ever after.
That I don't know about.
Well, speaking of happily ever after, next character, Tonk Fa.
I hope he dies. I hope he dies and like a bunch of monkeys come and stomp him to death.
Oh, yeah, no, there's no way in hell Tonk Fa lives. That character in these books never lives. I will be super impressed if he does, though. I will be really, really impressed.
I hope he gets
All right.
trapped in a menagerie and then all the animals have to eat him.
You know, he gets trapped in the menagerie and he says, finally, something not boring. And then he dives forward and you don't know what happens to him.
Ugh.
That's the kind of ending I want to give him. I love when that character gets a weirdly happy death ending. I always love that. It's not his fault he's crazy.
All right. Next character, Trellides.
Evil and dead.
Who's Trellides again?
That's the God King's high priest.
Oh, he'll be fine. I think he's going to turn out to be like, how'd I forget his name? Yeoman, was that his name? Where he seems like a bad guy, but he's actually just really faithful.
Oh. Actually, we did learn a bit about him in this past chunk of chapters. I don't know. Sometimes characters like that seem harmless, but they're not.
Well, I don't think he's harmless. I just don't think he's evil. That's all. I think he's dangerous if you're against him, but I don't think he's, like I said, I used to think they were just scamming everybody. Now I'm starting to believe otherwise.
I see. I think he will be against our characters, and so he'll be killed. Maybe Susebron will even kill him.
That would be great, especially if it turns out that he wasn't evil, and this is on Susebron's path towards corruption through love.
That would be so tragic, like Anakin level.
Him and Siri escape, and then he stops him and he's like, "You can't, we need you." And then Susebron just walks over and rips his head off with his immense strength.
Oh my god.
Siri's horrified, and he's like, "See, I listened to you. They are evil. They are against they're bad." And she'd be like, "Jesus Christ, what have I done?" You know. That's I fully expect that very specific sequence. That's freaking
horrible. Now. I hate it. I don't want that to happen.
He doesn't. And then Siri's just like, I think we should start seeing other people.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Who knows? Maybe she's into bloodthirsty Susebron.
From what
she's at first
her,
gonna think. No. I guess it was necessary. They were against us, even though they're not. But when he keeps doing it to everyone,
oh my god,
when he's like,
so
"You said your dad sent you away, so I took care of him for you," stuff like that.
Oh my!
It'll be like if you have a cat, they just like sometimes just drop mice off, being like, "See."
Okay, it's not gonna be like that. No.
Just like wakes up.
I got a present for you.
That would be an awesome story, though. I want to read that one.
All right. Well, all right. Next character, Vasher.
Vasher will be fine, because we haven't seen enough of him to kill him off. If they killed him off right now, I'd be like, oh, I barely know the guy.
He has to live. He has to marry Vivenna.
Oh, new ship?
Yeah.
Even I can't argue with that one. That seems like it could happen.
All
right. And then Vivenna.
They better not kill Vivenna. That'd be too mean.
Yeah.
She's got to marry Vasher.
Yeah.
You know? Especially if what they do is Vasher's like, oh, by the way, I was just tricking you too. And then he shoots her. And that's the ending. And the moral is don't trust anyone ever, no matter what. The end.
Okay. If that happened, I don't think Joe would be reading the book or would have finished reading it. So that's
Well,
all I
it's
know.
it's done in a good way.
That's kind of like a little trick and spoiler for me. Like, if Joe likes the book, then that can't be the ending.
It's probably not pushing the most nihilistic, pointless themes possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said it before. The first Law series was incredibly well written. Great books. Too dark for me. But I will never say they are bad books, because they are very good books, and people probably will enjoy reading them if they do. Just was too dark for me personally. All right, last character, Nightblood.
He's a sword.
What does
That's
that
my
remind-
response. Nightblood is a sword.
He's a cricket. Like,
You could kill it.
Yeah.
Like,
In the
I've seen the end of Terminator 2.
That wasn't a sword. That was a robot. It was destroyed.
Nightblood will
he's-
live on like the Jumanji game. It will fall into a river and float away. Like,
And then just the jungle drum starts beating.
yep.
Just gets picked up by somebody else.
Yep.
You just hear like faint voice. Do you want to kill some people?
Also,
Yeah.
the kids are walking on the beach.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to do a murder?
Yep. On to the next.
I like that theory, Sheta. It'll be like in 1,000 years it's dug up in like a future world where they have modern technology.
Oh my
And they'll
god.
find it. And like
Yes.
some construction worker will find it, and then his CEO will be there. And then it'll that's the future of the trilogy.
Yeah, they'll just pick it up.
Oh, man.
Hello.
My
I don't
gosh.
know. I'm never really a fan of that kind of ending.
I wonder though
Oh.
if artifacts like the sword would show up in other Cosmere books. That's what I wonder. Don't react in case they do. But
Unless it already has, Sheta.
yeah. What?
Don't
Is this-
gasp. That's based on nothing. I have said
Is it-
nothing.
It's Ellen's sword.
Yep,
From the
you called
past.
it.
Just
Nightblood's
like her-
just the reincarnation of Wraithen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, don't
No.
tease me. I want Wraithen so bad.
No way, it's Deloth. The scales on him turned him into a sword. That's more like it. Well, he has a better outlook than Deloth. So never mind.
All right. Well, now I guess let's move over to characters of the week. If everyone wants to say their favorite character this week.
Hmm.
Mine was Vivenna for learning the error of her ways and what true suffering is and changing drastically as a character in her beliefs.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good.
Vivenna in this book keeps alternating from my favorite and least favorite character from like chapter to chapter.
Yeah,
What?
that tracks.
Really?
She's got, huh?
That tracks. That was me too, reading this.
Yeah,
I'm like, I love her. No, I hate her. No, I love her. No, I hate her.
yeah. Which just shows how realistic her what am I trying to say? Her way she reacts to things are and way it thinks of things.
Mhm.
I can't pick. I guess. I'm torn.
We all know who it is.
I don't want to be. Okay. I
Well,
guess.
one of
Wait. What do you guess first?
well, it's one of two. It's obviously one of two.
No, because I was going to pick a Lightsong for being so annoying that he got the meeting with the Allmother, and for using the squirrel.
All right, so you're picking Lightsong.
No, she
But-
said it was going to be Lightsong.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be Susebron for being brave enough to kiss the girl he likes.
Yay!
Like it wasn't going to be Susebron. Not on the chapter he very likely gets laid
know.
on. Of course it's
He gets laid and shakes the world, Justin.
maybe. We don't know for sure. We could find out he has performance issues next chapter.
Oh my gosh.
Also like the way Sheta worded it. He kissed the girl he likes. Also,
Yeah.
the girl he likes is literally his wife.
Yeah, but not everybody in those times liked their wives, you know?
That's true.
True.
They like their mistresses more.
True. Well, I'm torn between my favorite characters as well. Between, the person who was hiding in the armchair for listening to hear if they hooked up, and the squirrel.
The squirrel.
Yes.
So I think I'll just pick the squirrel.
The damn squirrel.
Yeah.
All
he's
these
so
character
smart.
moments in these chapters, and you go with the squirrel.
Yeah. I mean, he's a little chaos gremlin. I like him. He followed all those instructions,
Mhm.
That is true.
He did
His
so
ability
good.
to follow those instructions. I mean, he is dead, but his ability
Yeah.
to follow those instructions is impressive.
It is
At
very
least he had a
impressive.
good brain, yeah.
Yeah.
And he may have won the war, actually. The squirrel is the Warbreaker.
Yeah, the squirrel is the
The
Warbreaker.
squirrel was.
Oh, sorry, I gave it away.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I'm
No,
sorry.
that was my theory at the beginning when he let the squirrel loose, that we were never going to see him again until like the last chapter when somebody's going mad with power, like, wah, ha, 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 and then a squirrel just jumps on their face and they're like, ah, and then our heroes take the moment to attack.
It's like Ratatouille, like pulling the hair of like the powerful people.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I was really
Squirrel.
disappointed when they found the squirrel again immediately because it meant that theory wasn't going to be what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, he's still relevant.
He's
Yeah,
very
but
relevant.
I thought it was going to be like one of those, oh, you forgot about that element, didn't you?
Oh, right. Still following the same instruction from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, like I can't think of what movies like that, but I know we've seen that before.
Yeah.
Many
I know
times.
something like that happens at the end of the movie. Totally awesome.
Well, not a comedy movie.
Which I brought up in my underrated live action movies.
Yes, you did.
Mine was in a straightforward movie.
Dang. Let me know
Alright.
if you think of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you could too. It's happened more than once in things.
Okay. I'll make a list.
Alright, well, my character of the week will be Siri. I liked her mostly for the end of her chapter where it's like, I need to stop and no, fuck it.
That
It
made
also-
me so mad.
It perfectly tracks with her character. It's always, yeah, she's impulsive and stuff, and she's like, I should do this, but nah, that's not me.
Oh, fuck it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll deal with the consequences later.
The consequences. Like, much higher than a normal teenage girl would have.
They're married.
Yeah, it's fine.
With a future baby that could kill the world and her husband.
Where
It's
did Kill
fine.
the World come from, Sheta?
We don't know.
No, we don't. So where did Kill the World come from?
That's the worst case scenario. Like,
They got like at least 9 months to think about that, right? Like I don't know how long these things.
it's a
Unless they
magic
say,
baby.
oh, a God King baby happens in a week. So we'll just
Oh geez,
kill
that's
Siri
true.
now and replace it with the
Yep.
stillborn.
That's usually how it
Or
is.
with
It's
the
a
return baby.
supernatural birth. Like, oh yeah, it's growing so fast. It's already 1 year old. They pull out the fake baby. Like,
Yeah.
Wasn't that like an episode of Buffy where like Buffy and Cordelia got pregnant and like gave birth in like a day or something like that?
No, it was just Cordelia. That was an angel.
Angel, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
Then-
there was like I thought that one was still a longer one, and there was like a real fast one in an episode of Buffy.
It was a bit long. No, it was really fast in there. It was like super unnatural and fucked up.
Yeah, and then they used that to write Cordelia out of the show, and that pissed me
Yeah, awful.
All right, well, let's move over to quotes of the week.
All right, I got mine right here.
Oh wow, Justin. I thought you said you had it.
I gotta find it. I took a picture.
And he cut out again.
Yeah, I should have played it up that I did.
Yeah. Just say real quick. Ugly. Do you want me to go first?
No, I got it. I just need a second.
All right.
Okay, you can take it. I gotta find mine. I took a picture of the page, so I gotta find where it is on the page.
Oh. All right. My quote is from Vivenna and Vasher's chapter. The room fell silent. You're not the first one he's taken in, Princess, Vasher finally said. Denth, he's a subtle one. A man like him can be evil to the core, but if he's charismatic and amusing, people will listen to him. They'll even like him. She looked up, blinking teary eyes. Vasher turned away. Me, he said, I'm not like that. I have trouble talking. I get frustrated. I snap at people. Doesn't make me very popular. But I promise you that I won't lie to you. He met her eyes. I want to stop this war. That's all that really matters to me right now. I promise you. She wasn't sure if she believed him, yet she found herself wanting to. Idiot, she thought. You're just gonna get taken in again. She hadn't proven herself a very good judge of character. Still, she didn't pick up the bag of coins. I'm willing to help. Assuming it doesn't involve anything more than telling others that I wish to keep Idris from harm. Good enough. I just think this conversation really differs from the kind of things that Denth and her talked about, and like the kind of stuff their relationship was like. I really like the difference between Vasher and Denth. Like,
What's the difference?
Vasher is awkward and not good with words and not good with people, and like someone you wouldn't trust like right away. Denth is likable, like charismatic, and he just is easy, like someone you might trust right away, you know. So yeah. And then also, but he was hiding all this dishonesty, and then Vasher just tells it straight up, like even if it's blunt and not pretty, you know. So that's the difference. He's like, I'm gonna be honest with you the whole time, ugly truth and all and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a lesson about that in the book. It's a theme, like don't judge anything by what it looks like or seems like or appears, you know.
Mm-hmm. All right. My quote is very, very short. It's one thing Vivenna says like a page before that. It's when she's talking to the Adrians, and she says, "We must find a way to bring attention to your suffering without bringing hatred as well." I thought that was a really good way to put it, because people who are in those shitty situations, a lot of the times they lash out, and then the people who could do anything about it just wind up hating and resenting them because they're just lashing out and making their lives harder instead of, you know, trying to find the way to, which is much harder, to show we're not having a good time down here. We need you to change your ways or help us out in the way that brings about pity instead of just resentment and hatred. That's a big, a wise thing for her to say that I'm glad that somebody in her position is thinking about.
Yeah, maybe she's good politic after all.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like
Yeah.
with like old civil rights things, you know, when you have the philosophies of should we lash out or should we do peaceful protesting, you know, and if people just lash out and attack stuff, then people just wind up becoming more racist and not liking people. But when they, you know, those peaceful ones are still down to history to this day, people still think about some of those people who led those things. So
yeah, you're trying to get people. Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, yeah, you're trying to win people over who don't even know about what you're going through, and also maybe don't think about it at all, you know, but enough of them could be persuaded to think about it, maybe, you know. So I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, they always say that they're sympathetic to their cause.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get them to be sympathetic towards whatever your plight is.
It's a lot easier to get somebody to not be sympathetic to your cause than it is to get them to be, I would say.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, well, the quote I picked was also from the Vivenna and Vasher chapter. Yeah, I know, it's popular. So mine is, Princess, you say every man thinks they're on the right side, that every man who opposed you was deluding himself. Didn't you ever once stop to think that maybe you were the one on the wrong side? And I love this quote so much because I just think this encapsulates so much of this whole book in this one little sentence. Like, because how many people are we like questioning now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even
That's
at
true.
this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it also just kind of is a good statement on just life in general. Like, everybody always thinks they're doing the right thing, but when you get a little bit more information, like, how often do you switch sides, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I just really like that little quote quite a bit. So, yeah.
I'm shocked we've got 3 quotes from the same part, and
It's
none of us picked the same quote.
I know, that's crazy.
Well, Don't worry, I'll make it 4 quotes from the same chapter.
No, no way.
To
4
be
for
fair,
4.
it was like the longest chapter that we read.
That's true.
Yep. So I have Vivenna. She continued to kneel, ashamed before these men, ashamed to be crying, to be seen in the immodest clothing and hair, ashamed to have failed them so completely. How could I fail so easily, she thought. I, who was supposed to be so prepared, so in control. How could I be so angry that I ignored my people's needs just because I wanted to see Hallandren pay? I just like that whole part because it really shows her character coming to terms about what she had done and realizing that due to like how her father had acted, how Dent had acted, that she was like led astray from what she wanted, and her hatred for Hallandren also like brought her where she did not want to go originally, and she's realizing that.
Yeah, for sure. She lost sight of it.
All right, and so we have all that. So now let's look forward to next week, where we will be reading 4 chapters. Chapters 46 through 49. And now it's time to end it off with everyone's favorite segment of any podcast with the plugs.
Woohoo.
We know you're
Start
only
off.
here to plug your own podcast.
Oh, am I supposed to do it now? Oh,
Yeah, you can start off with plugs.
okay. All right. Well, Cosmere Reads. We're at CosmereReads.com. We record live every Monday on YouTube at 9 Eastern. I think that's about it.
Whoa,
Oh,
you
man,
guys
you
are
guys go
live?
live?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do live. Yeah, live on YouTube.
Oh,
every
man.
week.
Yikes.
We would be kicked off the internet if we went
Oh,
live.
yeah. I'm surprised we haven't been, honestly.
Yeah, unfortunately I'm usually busy Monday, so I don't listen to them live. I listen to them when they later get put onto the podcast episode, so I'm a couple months behind.
Yeah. Well, we're a couple of months behind uploading them, so.
Yeah.
Aha, makes sense.
But
Yeah.
it's a good show, entertaining.
Yeah.
So if
We
people
just
want to
hang
listen,
out.
go ahead.
Yeah, it's just very chill vibes. Like, we go on a lot of tangents. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. So.
Also, if anybody decides to check them out, just know that Tree's not on there in the beginning.
No, I'm not. I come on. So it's Will and Alondo and Alan. And then Will, lifes sometimes. So he had to step away. And then it was just Alondo and Alan for a bit. And then I come in. And I'm trying to remember the first book I did with them.
I think it was Emperor's Soul.
Yes, that makes sense. Emperor's Soul, and then we did Stormlight. And I can't remember if there was something before that. Ugh.
Yeah, because I think Will left in the middle of Elantris.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, Emperor's Soul. Oh, no, we did Hope for Elantris as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Emperor's Soul, Hope for Elantris, and then we did Way of Kings. And we just finished Way of Kings. And now we're doing Tress in the Emerald Sea, which I love so much so far.
All right. Justin, Sheta, you two on plug now?
All right. Yes, I just have my art just on my Instagram at Sheta_low. And then I also have another one where I post cosplay stuff and fashion stuff at Mermaid Machete.
And for me, you can still go to @ProfanityBeaver on most social media sites for comics and art of various qualities.
Nice.
Yep, and for Cosmere Chronicles, everyone knows the drill. If you want to follow us on social media, links should be in the description. Send an email to us, cosmerechronicles@gmail.com. Do the typical like, subscribe, all that stuff. It helps out, I think.
Man, you make it sound so exciting to do.
Yeah, put a little pep into it.
Well, we're like 60-some episodes in. If they haven't liked or subscribed to us
Yeah,
at
but
this point...
still, we had one fan say they like our plugs the best. So you have to keep
That never
going.
That was
happened.
my
I don't-
sister.
Don't-
That was my sister.
So she'll still be listening, and so you have to put the pep in for her.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
God.
you know what? If anybody's still listening, I'll have a game for you. Because this episode, in the middle of recording it, a couple of us, where we lived, the power went out in the block. So we've actually had to record this episode on 2 different days. So try to let us know, when was the point? Let's see how well my editing skills are. When was the point that we had to stop one recording and start the new one?
Ooh, what a fun game.
So fun.
Yes, I'm curious. I almost let
Nobody
something
listened
slip.
long enough to know the rules of the game, Sheta. That's the game.
One person
Who
will.
actually listens not just to the plugs, but through the plugs.
Yeah.
Dang, Joe, you should have put it at the beginning of the
No, this is for only the true fans who are like, I need every second of words they say.
All right, yes, they are our most beloved fan.
Well,
Yeah.
our most obsessive, that's for sure.
Whoa,
The ones
don't
who you
say
gotta
that
be-
about our best fan.
They're the kinds of fans who you make sure not to dox yourself about just in case they find out.
Jesus.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for the show, everyone. Come back next week if you're, want to and stuff. So,
Do it.
And thanks,
Yep,
Tree,
we'll
for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
thank
This
you.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. We came up with some good stuff.
Yeah, we did.
Vivenna!
Vasher, woo!
Oh,
All right.
God, I don't hate the Vivenna Vasher ship as much as I hate the Vivenna Claude one Sheta had.
Yeah, that's my favorite one, though.
All right. Well, I'll see you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-ta!